Just when I thought I couldn't find my way out, yeah, I searched the God in me to find my way out. I know it can seem way out, but the Creator flows to and through me from way out. I'm talking way out, yeah. See, if you believe in the God in you, it's a better place. Creating the force and the power to live a better life. Know that love and joy and peace is one in all of the same space. That you were chosen just like God. Your energy. That's right. Only you can make the change. Share your energy. Shine so bright from darkness from darkness to light. Yeah. And you'll find your way out. Oh, it won't seem way out. The power of God will flow through you from way out.
All right. Welcome to Alchemizing Energy. Today we have Janae Alexandria. Welcome. We're going to be bringing darkness to light with the Carbonation and NaturBoy saga.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go. Hello. Welcome to Alchemizing Energy. For this occasion, I brought on some very special guests of mine that are not only pillars in like the community, but also coaches and like life coaches and things like that. I don't want this to just be just a gossip fest. I want this to be a healing fest. And these are sisters that are very powerful that I wanted to bring to you so that we just not only have a discussion, but we actually have a very heart to heart and spiritual discussion as well.
That's shame.
Okay, let me get my tissue.
Yeah, get ready. I'm gonna let Napa kind of start things off.
Okay.
Yeah,
Napa.
I'm so happy to be here. First off, you know what I have going on? I don't know if you can hear.
I can hear you now.
You hear an echo?
Yeah, no, you kind of clicked out and then came back in, I guess.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. All the technical difficulties dealt with so far. What happened? Where did our special guest go? I wanted to greet her there she is. First, I want to greet you, say thank you so much for being here. And I'm also dual streaming on the sit down, which I will be bringing the beautiful Janae over there. I call her a hero. She is my hero. She tells me that I'm her hero. She's my hero. It's the cycle. So I want to say peace to her. Peace to Genesis here in Alchemizing Energy family. Please go over. You can go in between her channel and my channel. Please subscribe. Peace to Lady Kier, powerful sister doing a women's retreat. Peace to Nyla and to the entire audience. To the darkest minds of the light. I'm just almost finished. Assalamu alaikum, hotep, namaste, jambo, ashe, shalom. All the greetings of love and light to the darkest minds of the light. I love you. This is going to be a wonderful love build. I'm already getting the tingling sensations from the spirit realm. So peace to everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Peace. Thank you, Goddess.
Did you want me to keep going? Because I will. I thought we might go around and just introduce it. Don't.
Well, I guess we can introduce ourselves. Coach K, you want to go?
Yeah, I want everybody. Just go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you're muted.
You gotta hit the mute.
I just saw that. I appreciate you, DJ Genesis. Definitely want to greet you and say thank you for having me over. Your channel is new to me, so I appreciate you exposing me not only to it, but exposing your audience to me. And what I'm doing this evening as well. So I appreciate that. Definitely have to greet my sister Natasha Dye. She already know where we stand. So darkest minds of the light, you know what I'm saying? And you, Miss Janae, I'm definitely excited to meet you and hear your story. And I appreciate the audience and everybody that's out there and being here for the build we're gonna have this evening.
It's nice to meet you too, Goddess.
Nice to meet you.
All right, Nyla.
Hi, Janae. Nice to meet you. I want to give you thanks and admiration for standing up in the midst of what you were against. And yeah, you are a superhero. And I want to thank all the ladies that's on the panel tonight. And I'm excited. Thank you.
Beautiful. I don't mean to interrupt. The technical things have to get worked out so much. Y'all cannot hear me. Let me go ahead and see. No, I'm talking about my audience. Do you not hear me when I mute out? Because I was trying to mute so it wouldn't be an echo. Put a yes or no. You can't hear me? What about now, William? Can you hear me? Because I'm screen sharing from Alchemizing Energy. Can you hear me on the screen share? Just a yes or no. You guys can keep going. I don't want to stop the show, but if you can't hear me, I'll just work. Okay, now you can hear me. Awesome. Okay. Love.
Right,
All right.
okay. All right. So let's get this show on. Let's get going. So as we all know, I'm sorry. Oh yeah. So again, like I said, this is a sister circle. This is a circle of support. We have a bunch of people that are here with different levels of support, different levels. Like I said, we have Coach K. She actually she's hosting a retreat coming up for women in North Carolina, and that retreat is actually a survivors retreat to help women with trauma, and it's actually in North Carolina. I think that close to where you are. So I wanted to bring that to you. Yeah. So everything that's coming here is going to be like, man, just an offer of any help and support, counseling, guidance, all that stuff to help to go forward, because it seems like there's a lot of like things that are carrying on in this whole situation. Mm-hmm. And it's time for healing. Okay.
Yes.
The monster has been put away, and it's right now what I'm seeing is almost like you ever got a massage and your back is hurting, you get a massage and your back stops hurting and you realize, man, my knee is hurting now. My arm, now I notice my arm hurts. Because what happens is a lot of times you don't realize your knee has been in pain the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Because you've been sitting up here too busy worried about your back, Right. And it makes you more pay attention to those other things, Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to basically offer a group of sisters a support, so some support for you. You know what I'm saying? Different levels, Napa.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't know why the audio is not sharing on my screen share. Is that
well? We'll have to figure that out because we got to get this going.
Why don't you go ahead and let me drop out and I will come back. So you guys do the show. Janae, I'm gonna try to come back, and I definitely want to talk to you. So I'm gonna go out, and but I'm gonna be watching, and so I'll jump back in. Okay.
Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. So let's get this. Let's keep going. Okay, Nyla.
Yes. I'm sorry. It took me so long. Yes.
All right. So let's start with any questions that you might have or anything that you wanted to talk her through.
Okay. Before we start, my beautiful goddesses, I want to say thank y'all so much for having me, and I'm so excited to talk about what we're going to talk about. One thing, though, I would like to say before we get started is that I'm also watching my daughter. So if I tend to run out just for a second just to check on her, because she likes to move around and do things, that's the only, I would like to be excused for that, if that's good. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, no absolutely. No absolutely.
One second. I'll be right back, please. And thank you. I apologize. I'll be right back.
No problem.
So what I was really wanting to kind of start addressing to start off is that is love, right? Mm-hmm. the propensity to possibly go to be wanting to fall in love, right? So that's kind of what I wanted to start on, because I think that all this situation really is a situation of finding love, right? The whole like thing, whether it be the love of God or the love of a person or the love of like family, that's kind of where I think would be a good place to start. Do you want to start that off, Nyla or Coach or anybody in particular?
I can go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, no, I'm waiting on whoever.
Okay, Coach, you started off while
Yes.
when she gets back.
Well, I definitely can say that in a sense that is definitely what most people are seeking when they go out into the world, especially when they get caught up in any type of, here said occult or culture or any type of traumatic experiences that you experience, whether you're dealing with domestic violence relationships or if you're dealing with situations where you allow yourself to be used or misused by friends or family, and allow other people to kind of control you. Because there's a lot of times, it does deal with love because you're seeking somewhere to belong, you're seeking acceptance, you're seeking, companionship. And a lot of times when people grow up without that, if that has been something that has been absent in your life, or if you only got that from a small amount of places, your support group is real small and they're not around for you as much as they can be, then you're going to tend to kind of look for people that you can be with or be around that are going to make you feel important. And a lot of times we mistake certain actions that people give for love. And I think that's what the problem is. I think there's a misconception of what people actually think love looks like.
And that's what I think is going on in Janae's situation. If you actually look at her situation, there's not just two men. People only focus on Solar and NaturBoy, but if you actually think about it, I'm not going to mention one of the person's name, but and then there's a guy. There's several guys that throughout this whole time that she has dealt with that has done her wrong.
Right.
And then I'm not sure what happened in her father. I'm not sure what happened in her early life. So.
Right. And those are the things that I always like to get to with people, because at the end of the day, these type of things do have a root cause. There is something that led up to this. People don't generally just end up in these situations for no reason. There's something in their life that led them to a place mentally and spiritually where they were capable of being manipulated in this way. And a lot of people don't recognize necessarily what manipulation looks like, because again, when we come from backgrounds of toxicity and especially in our culture where we grow up hearing people talk to each other all kinds of ways and then still lay down with each other at the end of the night, so I think we have really warped and manipulated what love actually really is or looks like. And because we don't really know what love looks like anymore, especially if you don't have true love for self, if you don't have knowledge of who you are, if you haven't really taken time to dive into what it is you truly need in order to be your better self, in order to grow, in order to be happy. If you're not around people that are instilling those things in you, and of course, your father and your mother and the people that are your initial family are expected to be the people that sow those initial seeds in your life. So it's even worse for people who come from a pattern where, they didn't have that, so they're working with a blank.
Yeah, here's the question. So Janae, have you ever been in love? And what was your first experience of love? And was that a toxic experience or was that a loving experience? Is your first love experience, was it toxic or was it wonderful?
I believe everyone's first love is like a wonderful experience, So I haven't I wouldn't say all my relationships I've been with or been in my life have been toxic. there was a lot of them that were toxic, and there were a lot of them that were very nice, and healthy. I had a mixture of a balance of both. So it's just my first love, I would say, was it was pretty cool for what it was, I guess. I was like in my adolescence and didn't know much about, certain things, but it was cool.
Okay. Have you ever experienced any abuse early in life?
uh like like physical abuse.
Abuse, period.
Okay. So when it comes down to abuse and my early relationships, not my early relationships per no, I didn't really receive like verbal abuse, physical abuse. None of that in my early relationships. I would say when I became my early 20s, where I dwindled off and went to college and did all this and tried to explore, um, and was trying to explore without really knowing myself and knowing how to give myself that love that I needed. I would go off and venture off into these different relationships with men that didn't really treat me the way that I needed to be treated, because I didn't really know who I was, so I didn't treat myself with that type of respect at that time.
So, okay, let's get to the bottom of that. Why didn't you treat yourself this way? Let me ask the question. Was your father in your life?
No, not at all. My father was one of the people I really wanted in my life, I would say. And I wanted to be a daddy's girl. My father, to me, showed more attention to the daughter, that was more light skinned and more the wife's daughter. I would say that, instead of showing more attention to me and my twin sister. And sure enough, day, we were older, he had a conversation with my twin sister and her that, he kind of like didn't, give us attention because he wanted to take it out on my mother. So yeah, I just felt really neglected as a child and growing up into adulthood from my father. Even now, I call him on my birthday. So it's,
Wow.
I had to.
Okay.
And your father's Caribbean. Are you're Caribbean? Your mother's Caribbean, or your whole family's Caribbean?
Whole generation is Caribbean. From Jamaica. Me and my twin sister, we were born in America though. So we was born in Brooklyn, New York, Flatbush.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would say that my father, which is the first, should have been my first love, right? I didn't really have that relationship or connection with him, and I was just very, very upset about that. I would go through my entry in middle school crying about not being at my shows or showing up for me and my sister, to the point where I had to, in middle school, I took, and because every time I got on the phone with him, I would just cry, just, just cry because I wanted to for attention from him. So I guess this attention from men in a way that wasn't healthy for me. Like I was trying to fill a void. Because of that, I was allowing men who neglect me, that me, didn't give me what I needed to come into my life and stay in my life, because I thought that was normal. I thought that was okay. I thought that, supposed to be like that, I guess. But I had to learn how to go out and forgive my father for not being to truly heal from that.
Hello?
Yep. So I think that Oya can really speak to the Caribbean upbringing and how a lot of times with that upbringing, like about the cultural aspects. Oya?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, Trini. Well, I'm Trini. You're
Yeah.
Jamaican, but I
Yeah,
know
I
that
want you to talk.
colorism is big. Like for instance, I'm no contact with my mother now, and I went no contact at 40, and I'm 43 now. And my own mother said to me that when I was born, I like a little black hairy monkey because she had me when she was 16, and up until then she only seen red babies, light babies. She said she didn't even know babies was born dark. So that gives you a mindset for other people watching what West Indian people deal with. I know some in the Latin culture that's strong. White Puerto Ricans, dark skin Puerto Ricans, Dominicana. Some people they be chocolate like us, girl, and be like, I'm white, you know. So it's something that exists in these cultures, and what comes with it is neglect, emotional neglect. If you don't look a certain way, and I have this thing where I tell people growing up in a West Indian family is like being Italian. Everything you do is either for the family or against the family. And even down to how you look, your color, how your hair. Like for me, I heard, oh, you are you dogla, you know what I'm saying? Which is like, they were saying things to me that we don't, even in West Indians, we don't consider that to be a compliment. Being mixed is not a compliment, meaning I'm Indian and black mixed together. So in Trinidad, that's not good. You know what I'm saying? Because you're dark. The word is coolie. That's the word I was looking for. Coolie. They call me coolie because you're dark skinned, but you have wavy, smoothish hair. But really, what they're coolie in Trinidad is like saying the N word to a person. But they think it's cool because you're not full Indian, you're not full West Trinidadian, so you're coolie, you're mixed, you're mutt kind of thing. So there's us as women, when we get to United States, I was born in Trinidad and we're looking for love. Like I have a father that never came to the States. So he didn't follow his children, put it that way. He said, why would I come to the States when I lived here? Because you have children. You have children that need you. So maybe you should sacrifice a little bit for your children. Whatever. The point is, once we get to the relationship part of our life, we have this mindset of what love looks like. And for us, we're on the side, like you said, you called your dad for your birthday. That's how it was for my mom. I was constantly trying to get that smile, that validation from her. And I realized I was never going to get it. And she was going to make me dance around for something she never had any intention of giving to me. Like my own mother said, I ain't really been fucking with you since she was like 8 years old.
Right. So I wanted to so Janae, getting back to you, I wanted to talk to you just even further about just your feelings. Like, okay, so you begin to get into these relationships with men. You begin to like search out a spiritual path, in college, by that time you had been in several relationships that were toxic, and then you find this, this group. So I want you to dive into that. So go into that.
Okay. So, growing up, like you said, like I just been in relationship after relationship after relationship, and it wasn't the best in certain ways. When I went to college and came back home, I went to school, had a relationship when I went to another school other than, like, I went to Valdosta State University and came back from home because I couldn't really finish my years there because my financial aid was dropped. I went there for nursing, and then I then came back home and I started to study aesthetics, and I got my license in skincare. So after that, I started dating a man. He was my high school crush, and it was really a wonderful relationship, and I put my all into it, and he ended up cheating on me, which devastated me, made me depressed, and like that had started the spiral down in relationship after relationship, honestly. But I did have some good ones also after that. So coming into carbonation now, after I left the church and I was depressed, and after I left a really toxic situation, I didn't know where to go or what to do. I just wanted to be free. And God was letting me know that the person that I really loved, I had to let him go. And that was very hard for me. I just felt like I couldn't really do it at the time, but with God who strengthened me, literally I had to call upon the Holy Spirit and, go through my lessons so I can let him go finally, so I can go on.
Was there any domestic violence in that relationship?
No, that relationship, he just was, it was just no more trust. That's all it was with that relationship. I was very much in love with him. And I wanted to forgive him, but I couldn't trust him anymore because of what he did. He cheated on me with a multitude of women. And I had to look at his phone, which I never do, to see that. so that severed my trust a lot. And it was no domestic violence. There was no choking. There was no hitting. There was no, like, it was very much loving towards each other. That's why it caught me off guard. So, after that, leaving that relationship alone and going off into my own spiritual journey, into veganism and all this stuff, of course, his video comes up in the algorithm, and my sister is the one who actually introduced me to NaturBoy's videos. And he was talking about the archetype. He was talking about the Black woman that he needs or in his life, or the Black woman is God and everything like that. So after that, he started talking about nature and everything, and that's when I started finding God in nature. And that's when I started to follow Carbonation and just became a fringe member, meaning a member that's like not inside the group, but follow the teachings. And that's when I started to program myself in the Carbonation laws and the ways of carbonation.
So your initial introduction into Carbonation, were you more enamored with NaturBoy as a character, or did you also more see the other characters and begin to fall for them in a way?
I would say the other characters. When I saw Eligio Bishop, aka NaturBoy, I could see a presence and a spirit. At first, I thought I saw a presence and spirit on him that wasn't like too kind. And it kind of scared me, but I liked the message, that he was producing, and the people around him were like angels to me. This was around the time that he was dating Yaya. So I used to listen to all of their messages. I was listening to Olmec, I was listening to Flo, and then Velvet came in like a week or two after. And, it was just, I was listening to all the members. But Eligio, I wasn't really listening to him that much per se.
So so did you eventually start listening more to Solar's message, and that's why you were drawn to him, like because of how he delivered his messages? Is that how you ended up going there?
I liked Solar's messages at the time. I would say when I was in Thailand, just living out the knowledge in Thailand and doing whatever I was doing, I was listening to.
Sorry, I hate to like interrupt you, but look, Thailand, you go, girl.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's something that says a lot about you right there. She was like going other places and learning like stuff and really doing it big,
Absolutely. I was doing my best to follow in, the teachings and doing whatever my spirit told me to do to get more closer to God. So once you ask God, who are you? What am I? What is this? That's exactly what Eligio said to ask the universe. Who am I? What am I? What is this? What am I here to do? The universe or God talks back to you. So I was going on a journey of self-discovery in different countries, in different lands. And for some reason, I was able to manifest going to Thailand with Tisha Khan. Tisha Khan was already there in Thailand. And because I was able to fast, I like to fast. Around this time, I fast all the time. So I believe in the power of fasting, prayer, and meditation. So I was fasting from carbs and, foods that didn't serve me, breads, rice, and just drinking pure water and spring water, eating healthy fruits and everything, vegetables, majority raw. And then I would pray and I would meditate on a better life for myself. And out of nowhere, like possibly a month later, Tisha Khan hits me up saying that she wants to bring me to Thailand with her and live out, our life there, just living the knowledge, like, because Tisha Khan was also on the frequency, basically meaning in Carbonation, she was listening to the teachings and living by the laws. So I was able to manifest, go to Thailand, and I saw Solar's videos as well, as well as the other members. But I liked how Solar delivered things. And I also did one of his challenges, and I liked how he looked. Like, that's when I saw Solar, I kind of had a crush on him. So it just all tied together, I believe.
So did you eventually reach out to him, and then you guys begin to talk individually, one-on-one, and then that's what kind of brought you there? Did you leave from Thailand to go straight to him?
I would say that what happened around that time, I was talking to Tron. And around that time, the men was looking for wives and, wanting to, be more friendly with the people that's online and whatnot. So Tron and I, which is his name is Hukanum right now. We were, getting to know each other. I know back then I kind of wanted to get to know Solar more than I wanted to get to know Tron, but I just chose to stick with Tron because he was there first, I guess, and I didn't want to feel bad, so me and him got to know each other and everything like that. But then that went left, after a while, and that's when Meek came in and decided he wanted to travel across the world, sold his car just to be with me in Thailand.
All right. So what was it that actually brought you finally to say, okay, I'm going to go to Carbonation? Was it a person, or was it like, you know what, I believe in what y'all are doing and I just want to go there in general? Or was it that you were drawn there by a certain man and that you wanted to be their wife?
Well, for a while, I was following the teachings and listening to them. So I had my own mind of thinking like, oh, part of me was like, oh, I kind of want to, be with them, but I never truly was going to be with them because I liked to do my own thing. It wasn't until I met them in Atlanta, when I met them at Cecilia's Raw Reality, where I used to work, which is a raw vegan restaurant. I used to work there as a cashier, and they came in. The guys, I would say, the cult guys and Eligio Bishop came in, and after that we got back in communication again, and they invited me out to a party. I went to the party, and after that I was being convinced by Tron again and Solar to join the tribe or join the cult because they thought it was my purpose to join the cult. Yeah, so and that's what Solar does. He tells people's purpose through astrology, so looking at the natal birth chart and everything like that. So he basically was telling me it was a part of my purpose in life to be with them and be a part of a family or some kind of system. And I believed it. So at the time I had a ticket to Bali, Indonesia, booked already. I was going to go to Bali, Indonesia, and embark on a spiritual journey and a path there, and be a yoga teacher. Go to yoga school. But instead, I decided to go to Carbonation since they were already in Atlanta.
All right. So explain your first time in Carbonation when you came upon there. Again, like, was it like initially you came in there single and then got put with someone, or how'd that whole thing go?
Yeah, essentially, you come in there, sometimes you come in there single, sometimes you come in there already knowing who you want to be with. The first time I've ever been in Carbonation, I came in there single, and I came in there just wanting to experience the whole Carbonation experience with my soul family or soul tribe, or that's what I thought at the time. I thought it was my frequency family, and I thought we was all on the same frequency vibration and on this love vibe. So I was just like so excited, and oh my God, I've been watching them for years. I'm finally here. Hi, I'm Naturi, that kind of thing. And it was nice at first. It was very nice because they were my family, and it made me feel like really happy, to be with them. And then it started to go left. It started to.
Okay, so let's get into it. All right, now here we go. Let's explain the left. I mean, should we take a pause and like kind of get into the feelings of that first?
A break,
okay.
Pause, just 1 second, because I'm about to go check on my daughter again.
Okay, Coach Kate. Well, you know what? Who wants to go? Let's discuss the lowering end of this that happened to her, because sounds like to me she met these people over time, and then they saw her to kind of hook her, line and sinker, and then now they bring her into a place, they love bomb her, and then things start to go awry. But I'm not sure whether it was a love bombing or where, so let's who wants
That's
to dive
correct.
into that?
You're saying the right thing. It was love bombing.
Well, what I got out of what she said was that it was really more of a psychological manipulation. And there was really no love involved. These people target people that they know are already kind of broken, and looking for something. Because again, she's already stated that her father was not there for her. She looked for him most of her life and he was never around. And when he was, he did not treat her the way she deserved to be treated. Um, so her whole life, she's been looking for someone to take her in and make her feel loved. And one of the biggest things that narcissists um, and people who deal in psychological manipulation do is they try to fill those voids that they already know you need. Because the reality is, um, those people are on a journey. She's looking for something, and all those people, all those other women that came to them, they were looking for something. There was voids they were trying to fill. So they are, this frequency that they feel they're on is really people saying what manipulative narcissists say in any place, in any situation. Could be in your common church, could be a man that's, you're married to in your household. At the end of the day, these people play on your mindset, and they play on the fact that you don't have any real support, because people with real healthy backgrounds and healthy family and support systems do not generally succumb to these type of situations, because they're not out looking for something to fill the void, because they already have those systems in place. They already have addressed whatever the issues are in their life that have caused them to go these various places. These type of traumas and things are able to happen because people haven't addressed their issues, because people haven't dealt with their past traumas. So you are easily manipulated, because again, we don't know what love looks like. And when we don't take the time to actually love on ourselves and take the time to actually heal from our traumas, it is easy for people to manipulate those weaknesses, no matter how much you think you're covering up those things. The reality is, most people who have been manipulated, those people probably knew you've been manipulated, and they still manipulated you. They knew that you come from a heartbreaking background. They knew that you have been abused or used before. They knew those things. You probably told them out your own mouth what happened to you.
Yeah, that's the biggest mistake that us women make, is we meet a person, we meet a guy, and we just blab all the personal business. Yeah, I was molested when I was 3 years old, and blah, blah.
The ones for manipulators and predators, they count on that. They count on the fact that we tell them where they can go to hurt us most. They count on the fact that they already know these type of people exist out here, because we live in such a toxic world and so many families are broken, men and women alike. But it's easy to prey on the minds of people who are already broken and weak and don't know how to love on self, who are looking for something to fill voids. We have to take the
Was you
time
speaking?
to fill our own voids.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. What's your name?
I'm Coach K, LaTorsha Spencer.
Coach K. Coach K. Coach K. We need. Can we get Coach K's information up in this chat? I couldn't have said anything. You said it so eloquently, so clearly, so directly. And I say that as someone who grew up in the Dr. York cult, and as someone who watched Carbonation and was like, oh, I want to go there. That looks great. And then saw a few things and was like, okay, that's actually not great. And this is abuse.
Yeah.
So we go from place to place looking for, like you say, this love, this trying to fill this void. And it's very true. When you get a coach or a good therapist and you talk to them about relationship, I remember asking my therapist, so when I'm dating, do I tell them what I've been through so they know how to handle me? And I was emphatically told no, because human nature says that you could tell a guy, yeah, my ex-husband used to beat me up, call me names, control the money. And he may think then just like saying your food is nasty is not that bad because, well, you dealt with all that other stuff. That's how it was put to me, that human nature says that they'll do other things and thinking and rationalize in their own mind, a good person, mind you, a intending person, mind you, in their own mind, well, this is not as bad as what you told me you went through.
Right.
I appreciate everything you said.
Yeah.
And it's
a big factor. We have to These
Be
things.
careful what we tell people about ourselves, before
Yes.
we meet them. Did you tell them at all about yourself, like any trauma that you've been through before you actually joined the group,
What?
Janae?
Sorry.
Not that I know of. I don't remember telling them anything like trauma or anything, but they did ask for my natal birth chart. And something I did remember while I was changing my daughter's diaper, being there with her reminded me that initially, right, when I was talking to Tron, he wanted me to be his wife and everything like that. And I had to tell him many of times that I don't want to be his wife because I wasn't attracted to him like that. I just seen him as a friend. So that's when I went in there single, that's why, it was like, put on to me later. He was put on to me later. Like they basically put us together because our charts or synchronicity or whatever, it matched a little bit. We was compatible. So Eligio put us together because being in the cult, you supposed to kind of be with someone at that time. So
So how did that go? Like, was it like, how long did that last? And what made it go? I mean, sure, it went south because it wasn't meant to be, all like chart stuff, but nope.
Yeah, it didn't go pretty far at all because I didn't want to be with him, you know? I let it be known when I went into the cult, like probably some time or some days after or whatever, I don't know, that I liked Solar. I liked Courtney, the father of my child.
So explain how that situation manifested itself and how it went.
Well, at the time, okay, so when I first initially joined the cult, the men and the women weren't supposed to talk to each other. So when I came in and I started talking to the men like normal people, like just talking, the women got upset and some people went ahead and was letting me know that we don't do that here and all this other stuff. So when I went to Eligio about it, he held a meeting and he basically told everyone, let's stop being weird. Everybody can talk to each other now. So he basically changed the rule when I got there. And so we was all conversing, all of us was communicating, and we would all hang out with each other. The men and the women was just talking at night now that everybody can correlate and be in the same room. And I let it be known that I liked Solar, and after that, Solar took upon himself to have a private meeting with him and Zoka, because he was with Zoka at the time. And because the cult was polygamous, it was allowed to have multiple wives there. But when we had that whole meeting, me, him, and Zoka, seeing if it could work and everything, he's gonna ask. Excuse me if I say Baba G, because that was his name at the time. Eligio's name was Baba G. So Solar went to Eligio the next day, and Eligio basically was like, no, she can't be with Solar. There's none of that here. So it didn't.
So you think it was like, no, only one person could have all the wives? Like it was almost like if Solar had two wives, it would he'd be almost equivalent to him. Do you think it was like a thing like that? Like, yeah, I can't have another dragging around their balls up in this. Only one big ball niggas up in here. You know what I'm saying? Can't have two.
Yeah. At the time, I was very in tune with my intuition and very in tune with just hearing thoughts around that time, because, like I said, I was traveling everywhere in nature, and also I would meditate and pray all the time. I would meditate in the forest in the middle of a river on a rock for hours. I was very in tune. So when that moment happened, when me and Eligio and Zoka and Solar had that meeting, and Velvet at the time, because Velvet was there as well. When we all had that meeting that we wanted to be together. When Eligio said no, I heard and I felt something. Something told me that he was only saying no to save me on the side. Basically, like he was saving me from being in that relationship because he wanted to have me to himself. And I looked at him and I was just like, whoa, why am I hearing this? Because, I didn't really see his character online like that. Like, the manipulation, abuse that he was doing and everything like that. I was on and off looking at the tribe. But when I felt that and I heard that in my being, because I knew God wouldn't tell me anything different, I was just like, what is that about? Because he's with Velvet. I don't see why would he want me to himself. You know when you can feel something and hear something right on somebody else, you can feel and hear their thoughts. That's what I heard with the
yeah. With the fasting too, you will do that. You fast long enough, yeah. Were you allowed to actually meditate and fast when you were in carbonation?
Oh no, they meditation was considered like walking or doing things. He said everything was meditation at that time. He was like, so no one would really isolate themselves and just sit there and go into stillness meditation and get one in tune with themselves. They were always doing something. And so we weren't allowed to meditate. And if we were to pray, it's like basically praying to him after a while. He was like, people pray to me because I'm God. That's what he would say.
What did you think when you heard that? Were you like, did anything intuitively come into your mind? Like, hell no. Or were you like, okay, sounds like probably so sleep deprived and so talked out. Because I heard he would like have y'all like up all night and like kind of keep y'all. And that's another form of actual brainwashing. When you keep a person up, sleep deprived, food deprived, that's how you get into the person's subconscious mind, by neglecting them of like what their needs are. And then they begin to basically just become robotic, to where they just do what bend to your will.
Yeah, that was definitely a part of carbonation. I would say, like being sleep deprived, being starved, all that stuff. Like we wouldn't eat until he ate. And sometimes he would just not eat that day or wouldn't eat at all. And he would tell us to eat if we wanted to. But nah, it was definitely a part. Oh my goodness. I apologize, y'all. One more second. I truly.
It's okay, because it's great. We got a panel here of professionals, so everything that you say we can actually expound on. We're gonna take care of your little munchkin. So, all right. So we're gonna expound on it. Let's talk about it. Who wants to go in on that subject? Nyla, we haven't heard from you, Nyla. Oh, I think she tried to hit the button and then took herself out the thing. So who wants to talk about that? Go ahead, Coach K.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like all the classic signs that of a true cult leader. That is very interesting. I when NaturBoy or that carbonation initially started getting really popular, I kind of briefly heard about them, but I've never like really looked into them. So I just know what everybody kind of knows in the general. So to hear the story directly from someone like yourself, Miss Janae's, very eye-opening to actually, because especially in our culture, as Black people, we don't have a whole lot of cults, that type of thing. So it's interesting to me, especially as a person from a therapist and a psychological mind state and point of view. It's just interesting to see how these things have begun to kind of invade our culture, and see how we're actually reacting to these things that aren't really our norms.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Nyla, I want to also ask you, Nyla, you ever would you want to like ask any questions or make any statements real quick?
Right now I'm just listening, but a lot of things that she's saying is I'm resonating with, and I wouldn't say triggers.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the process of how
I think your mic go out.
Yeah, it's breaking up a little
Yeah,
bit.
she's standing out.
Your mic is going out, Nyla. So we're gonna like move further into the story. Let's kind of go
may I
deeper
make a
into
statement
the story.
real quick, if it's all right?
Go ahead.
I just hear Janae apologizing for being a present mom, and I'm not gonna try to tell you what to do. I'm not gonna, you've had enough finger wagging to probably last you a lifetime, but you don't have to apologize for being a present mom, love.
I
You
appreciate it.
never have to apologize for being about your child and your children and yourself. You never owe anyone an explanation why you need to go do what you need to do and honor the choices that you have made.
Right.
Ah, grateful, grateful, grateful. I'm thankful,
You
goddess.
can just say, I'm going to be back. Excuse you can say, excuse me for leaving. That's polite and shows etiquette. But apologies, never that for being a present mother.
Yeah.
Hey, Ashe. So
I
let's
say,
let's get deeper into this story. So basically, fast forward, uh, you end up with actually being his wife with Zoka for a small period of time, correct?
Uh-huh. Like, yeah. Hmm.
How did that go? Were you in, okay, because you guys ended up like it didn't work out. Y'all ended up doing the whole Dr. Bishop thing. What was that experience like?
Okay. So with that, I would say, Stolar really wanted it more than Zoka. I would say that. I feel like Zoka just went along with it because of the mission that what Carbonation was trying to represent or to do for the world was just to bring back, polygamy as a normal thing, to promote nation building, okay, and tribal living. So I believe that she was talked into it by Solar and Eligio. And Eligio would definitely tell her, like, you got to get over your demons to, you know, to be, you got to get over your demons, so you can, example for the community. So that polygamy was something that she struggled with, but tried her best to accept at the time because she wanted to accept it. And she basically told me about her traumas and triggers, about what I believe she had said on live before, to the public, that she didn't really get along with women like that, or trust women like that because of certain things that happened to her with, I think her sisters or aunts or something like that. So with her family. So let me say that first, that she wasn't as completely comfortable with it, but she was definitely talked into it. I appreciate that. Laws of unity. I appreciate that. Thank you. And then, so when I got into the relationship with them, whew, goodness, there was a lot of favoritism. I'll say that. It was a lot of favoritism and babying Zoka because she was it was apparent that she was kind of upset with certain things and she didn't, want to be, the girl with the less attention on her. So Solar will overcompensate her with attention and affection and love and everything like that.
How'd that make you feel?
It made me feel neglected. It made me feel like upset in a way, because it's like I've been in polygamous relationships before, and I'm just like, that's just not the healthiest way to handle polygamy. If she can't handle the situation, maybe we shouldn't do it at all. That's what I was thinking at first, but then I was just like, nah, like, let me keep going. Let me warm up to her. Like, maybe she needs to just get to know me, and develop a sisterhood bond, but that didn't go well because he would try to have intercourse with us and with us at the same time. And let's just say that, she didn't like that to the point where she kind of wanted to fight at one point, because, and it was just this whole debacle. So it wasn't healthy. I'll say that it wasn't healthy. We got torn apart because, of certain things. I was very upset with the whole situation because I just felt like, Zoka, because she wasn't wanting so much attention, any type of attention that I would get, she would get mad and go, isolate herself and, stay to herself. And I didn't like that. So I would try to talk to her. Hey, are you okay? We got this, but she was definitely not liking it. And now looking inside
Zoka was like what, 17? How old was Zoka? Like 17, 18, something like that?
I don't believe she was that young when she entered. She was like 19, 20 when she entered Carbonation. So I believe around the time she was probably 20 years old. 20 years old.
Okay, because I was thinking maybe it's because she was young.
Yeah, she was young, and but she just didn't want to share her man, I believe, and she was forced to because of the knowledge, because of what we were supposed to stand by in carbonation, you know. So I would say that that really took a toll on her. And I tried to, you know, show her that it's just not that bad. Like, we can do this together. But she kind of didn't want to like develop that bond, because then that would make her have to face doing polygamy, because then she wouldn't have nothing else to say about it because she actually liked me. So anyway, long story short, there was a lot of jealousy involved. Even I caught myself being upset, because I'm just like, why are you giving her so much babying? Like, and I'm out here just, you know, in my little corner, like, you know, just, you know,
trying to having to deal with it yourself, but she's getting like all the attention, right? So
I felt like you know, my dad want all over again, you know.
right,
And,
exactly.
you know, it felt like I wasn't I had to just accept that he would give her more attention, and I'll be okay with it because I was more mature. I could handle it, I thought, you know, but at the same breath, I was like, I don't really like this. You know, I shouldn't be able to be, just because I'm more mature and more, you know, accepting of certain things doesn't mean I should accept being neglected.
So here's the question: Was Solar the same person now than he was then?
That is a great question. I didn't even think about it. No, I don't know. I don't know. Back then he was very, very, very immature. I would say very immature, but now he's just immature. He's not. He's so far. So I don't know. I don't know how to even answer that. He's been having the same mannerisms, I believe, but back then he was like, I would say more immature.
He was more immature, okay, at the time, right?
Excuse me.
Wow. So okay, let's. All right, we're gonna break out and just talk about that. Who wants to talk about that stuff? Who wants to go deep dive into that? I guess Coach K, it's on you.
Okay. Look, I was trying to just wait and let somebody else, you know, speak, but I was okay. So I was just trying to make sure I was following correctly, because she say that she did end up with the guy named, what's the other guy's name that initially she met?
Solar.
It was Tron at first, but she didn't like Tron. She ended up with Solar. That's the one she really wanted to be with.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was forced into a polygynous relationship. And the woman that he was relationship with didn't want to do polygyny. She was a little younger, and she probably never been in that type of relationship before, where Natiri had been experienced in that. So she understood how to that she, you know, you have to, like, you know, with the women have to be, you know, a team, you know.
That's
but unfortunately, Zoka, she had no like ability to do that, you know.
Right.
And Zoka is also very fiery. She's an Aries. She's very fiery personality. Has it ever came into almost blows with you and Zoka? Did you guys almost fight at any point because of like that whole situation with Solar?
Like I said, there was a time during intercourse that she pushed me, and I was just like, "What's going on?" So, like,
I'm glad you could laugh about it now.
Wait a minute. Hold on now. So y'all getting it in, and she pushed you, what? She pushed you off of him, like, no, nigga.
That's how that happens sometimes, sis. I've been there too.
You getting it in, all of a sudden you just feel a shove. You can't even close your eyes because
that feeling. You don't know until it happens, to be honest. And you know, it's when, you know, if you're a woman, you know how we are when we're in our bag, as they say. You might shove someone.
Oh my God, that sounds like it's off the news or something. Wow.
Yeah,
so I'm glad she can laugh about it now.
Yeah, I definitely can laugh about it.
So Janae, did you said that you eventually, well, hopefully I heard this right, is that you kind of figured out later that wasn't for you. Polygamy wasn't for you. You weren't comfortable with it.
No, she was. You're comfortable. Oh no, let me be quiet. I'm not
Polygamous
gonna answer you.
long time. Yeah, I was a polygamous woman. I believed in the nation building. I believed that it was a purpose behind it, and I loved the sisterhood. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I loved the sister bonding because I'm a twin. So it's just like I know how to bond with women, and I love.
Mhm.
Are you bisexual at all? Like,
I would say I was. I'm not so bisexual. I wouldn't even put a title and a name on it. I just liked girls at the time. I was bisexual. Right now, I'm not so bisexual. Like I like men, and I want a family. I like
would
men.
you ever do polygamy again?
No, 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 I wouldn't.
Why?
I just wouldn't. I don't see the point of it. I to do it for me. I've already done it times, and I'm actually a one man, one woman type of woman now, and I like it like that. So I want to build with that one man, and he builds with me, and we have our family, our empire, whatever that is. And I think that's a more traditional way in some other cultures. Like there's cultures that only deal with one man and one woman, and yeah, I dig that.
For that one, Coach, you got a question?
I just wanted to, chime in on that, on the polygamy thing. The reality is, in America, we have gotten to a place with polygamy where most of us who do practice it, people who do practice it, are practicing it from a wrong point of view. When I have looked into people who do have successful polygamous relationships in situations, what I have learned, especially if you take it all the way back to Africa, with certain cultures and tribes that practice that, these things are women led, women facilitated.
Hello, thank you.
Women are generally the ones in charge of picking the wives and picking each other, so that you don't come in with that type of conflict, and the sisterhood is already there because the women are dealing with each other first, and then we decide what we're going to do with the man. But in America, this has been turned into something that
Patriarchal system.
right,
The
right.
patriarchy,
The patriarchy has taken
The
over.
patriarchy.
They have
which is funded by women. Let's go ahead and keep that real. You don't have a patriarchy without some type of matriarchy.
right,
Women are.
right. So
Yeah, they have to actually submit to the patriarchy in order for it to work. Yep.
right. But the reality is, in the really successful relationships with that, the man has submitted to the women. And he does what they need him to do in order to make the household successful, because they are the backbones, they are the side bones, they're doing all these different things, they're rearing the children.
Teach, coach. Teach.
So in situations where it is polygamous, it's not necessarily that polygamy is bad. It's just that the people who are facilitating the situation are doing it
Well,
to be manipulative. They're disingenuous. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Because if they were genuine about it, they would be sending y'all to go find the wives. They wouldn't even be looking for the women or recruiting women. You know what I'm saying? Because
Because it would be based on need and reason for that. Like why do we need more? Do we need more children right now? And even the thing of having more
exactly, there's a
children,
purpose
there's a
for
plan
everybody.
in mind. I mean, do we need a doctor in the family?
Right.
Because that's going to determine what kind of woman you even going to bring in the
Right.
household.
Everybody
Because we're
serves a
trying to
purpose.
everyone, because we're thinking generations ahead to make sure this goes the way it needs to go.
And another
Right.
thing, the whole sexual thing by bringing you guys in a bed together, I would believe that would be unheard of. Okay, most polygynous relationships that work correctly, each person has their space, their time. You would give the one woman their time with you, you give another woman their time with you. You don't mesh it in because now you're
Absolutely
confusing the whole situation. So I just wanted to address that's why that whole thing was faulty to begin with.
Yeah.
Right.
And from my understanding, and my NaturBoy didn't allow you guys to have actual what we would consider lesbian relationships, which again, a lot of us do not know the history of what we call lesbian relationships. Again, do not necessarily or actually include sex at all. It's the nature of the depth of the sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
That is what actual lesbianism comes from. It has nothing to do with women sleeping with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this idea that I could see when certain women came in, like Star, who had natural lesbian, as you say, awareness, meaning I'm here for my sister. I'm protective of her. I care about her well-being. That was not allowed. So it makes sense that you would have been pushed in that situation to be intimate with both of them at the same time, considering how Eligio or Nature Boy actually ran his organization, cult.
Oh, okay. Oh, I think somebody might have called or something like that. So
Yeah.
people probably get kicked off.
I'm here.
Are people calling you, or is that what it is? Okay. All right. So let's go further into that. So so how does the relationship end finally with you guys, and then you move on to eventually get brought into Nature Boy's fold?
How did that end? It ended abruptly. I remember also going to Eligio one time and just talking to him about certain things with the relationship, because he was the guru that you go to him for everything. He was God, or the caretaker, whatever, the therapist, anything. So he would just encourage people to go to him for advice with their relationships. So I went ahead and asked him about certain things. I told him about certain things, and he was just basically saying, "See, I told you for you, you need to be with me, all these things." And I'm just like, I don't know about the be with you thing, but I see what you're saying. Like, I see what you're saying. I was telling him I see what he's saying. So eventually something happened. I don't remember what happened.
Did you leave after you had to leave with Zoka, or is that like after you were with Nature Boy?
Huh?
Did you leave the group after that relationship dissolved with you and Solar, or was that after you were with Nature Boy?
No, that was much later. When I left, much later. So I had got with Nature Boy, and he wanted me to be one of his wives or whatever like that. I believe around the time. Excuse me if I'm trying to remember, because so much has happened since then. Even though it was just at 2020, this particular happening was at 2020, but he wanted me to be one of his wives or whatever. And he made me his wife afterwards or something like that. And we went to Hawaii, got arrested, went to California. And at California, he was showing me favoritism. But at the time, Zoka wasn't having it, because I guess she was just upset because I had a conversation with Zoka. This is around the first time I ever apologized to her. She recalled the conversation I had with her, telling her that I was apologetic because I was in love with Solar. And even though we was split up and I'm not supposed to be thinking about him, I still dream about him. And I went to her and talked to her as a woman to woman, because I'm just like, I know that's somebody you're with, or there's somebody you're pregnant with, because we have found out she was pregnant by him at the time. And that's when, I was just like, no, I'm not dealing with him at all. Like, that's her man at the point. But I still would think about him. I would still have feelings for him. And I told her, yeah, I see that. I still have feelings for him, and I want to let you know. And I kind of was trying to get advice from her because I didn't know how to deal with my emotions. So she recalled that incident that me and her had that conversation. And because Nature Boy was showing me favoritism, she went ahead and told him that, well, she still wants to be with Soul. She still has dreams about him and stuff like that. So that kind of put a damper in how Nature Boy saw me and everything like that. But I didn't really care, because I wanted to be with Solar. Like, that's the thing. But I wasn't going to put myself in that again, because first of all, it wasn't allowed. And secondly, that she was pregnant. So
right.
At the time, I didn't do with my emotions and feelings. So I desperately did want to be with him, but it wasn't being allowed. The polygamy wasn't being allowed. She didn't like the polygamy at all. So
right. So you were with Nature Boy, but she was still trying to put a damper even on that. She kind of
like with Nature Boy per se too. I was just like, sometimes he would just separate the men from a women, and you would just be by yourself, but still, like, he would have a chance at you whenever he wants. That type of energy. That's why I think it was around the time. But because around that time, I believe what's her name? Velvet was coming back. So when Velvet comes back, oh, no one's with NaturBoy. No one can be with NaturBoy, it was okay with me because I really didn't care, more or less. I didn't want to be with him.
Right.
We were all forced to be with him because that's what he wanted. But when Velvet comes back, or say she's coming back, he literally pushes everyone to the side. You're not with me anymore. I gotta keep my daughter. This is for my daughter. And basically, you know, gets with Velvet and be monogamous.
So, explain your relationship with Velvet. Like, you guys were friends, right? At first, you started off as friends, correct?
I kind of because
Well, we weren't going to get too deep into that because I know that that's a very touchy subject, you know.
it's touchy because I kind of spoke about it last night on a different panel.
Yeah.
With certain people, and it didn't do well with her when I just spoke. So I, you know.
Well, that's the reason why I wanted to get into it, because I'm like, I want to just make a statement about that, because.
What statement do you want to make? Because I don't really feel like.
I'm going to say this. Is that right now, because it's so high emotions, you know, it's like, you guys have those babies for the rest of your life, and they're always going to be brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? And I think that time heals all wounds. I think that right now, cooler heads must prevail. You know, you guys just had babies, postpartum as it could be in play. Like, there's a lot of things that happen when you have a baby, you know, and emotions and stuff like that. And so I think that there probably, just based on what I was hearing her say in her live, you know, that there probably is a chance for you two to reconcile.
I didn't watch her live. I didn't know what she said. So I didn't want to get mad or upset or anything and get triggered or impulsive. So I just chose not to listen to anything that she said.
Yeah. Well, you know, there was a lot of tears. You know, I think that she felt hurt, you know, but sometimes, like, it's, you know, it's good to know that a person feels hurt, because you understand that, you know, there is some emotion there and some feelings there. So I just, I think at some point one day, I think that you guys should, like, you know, when a little bit, let some time go past, let some healing go on, and probably try to sit down and talk, you know what I'm saying, one day. You know, that's what I think, you know. And I know it sounds, because let me tell you something, I've been in the same situation, you know. I'm a mother that, listen, my daughter, my child's father was with another woman, and she made sure she had a baby right after mine, and it was like a whole thing, but she did it purposely because she wanted to. It was crazy. But you know, eventually, as time went on, you know, my daughter's 5, you know what I'm saying? And now, like, we're cordial with each other, but it took about 5 years, and then we eventually was able to sit in the same room with each other.
It's important that she peace first, though. You know, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. It's just important that you keep your peace first, because you got to provide a peaceful, calm mind for the baby that you're raising.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hopefully it does happen that way, but if it doesn't, you know, it doesn't always work out that way. And I think we get kind of brainwashed to of having to have relationships for children. I mean, that's just my opinion, you know.
I agree.
You know, so
I agree.
Put your peace first.
Yeah, I wasn't saying y'all should become BFFs. Just at least, you know, be able to sit in the same room with each other and not kill each other. So, but let's get deeper into it. Let's go past that situation. Let's talk about, okay, so you eventually, okay, go ahead.
Or you go on, like I said, I'm always one for healing and growth. It's just, like I said on the panel last night, I'm gonna say it now, like, I feel like I can't even get myself to say things. And that's why I just chose not to say nothing. I'll just keep it that way. I honestly felt as if I apologized for certain things to her. And I'm willing to take accountability a lot of times in my life. When my pregnancy was exposed, I didn't like that. You know, I had no business of exposing anyone's pregnancy. So for that, I will publicly apologize to her for, because, excuse me. I was angry
Take your
and
time.
it's okay. I'm gonna keep going. You know, I was angry and upset, and I was 5 months pregnant at the time, so I was very impulsive and erratic with how I moved because I felt neglected again. Because around that time, Solar was neglecting me for her again. Once he found out she was pregnant, I was put to the side. So I want to publicly apologize for that. I am apologetic for that. I apologize to Velvet for exposing her pregnancy. And that's what I'm gonna have accountability for. That's what I'm gonna say that I've done wrong to her. If she's not allowed, if she can't do the same thing and apologize and take accountability or recognize that certain things she's did to hurt me, then how can there be growth and healing? You know what I'm saying? So I want to just say that and just put that out there. Like she didn't deserve that. And I was wrong for that. So
Well, that whole thing is a very touchy subject because, you know, and I
go on. We can go on.
yeah, it's a touchy subject because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we also got to like hold we got to hold the male in the situation accountable as well, you know.
Oh, yeah, of course. Like what? That's not even. I thought that was already understood.
Right.
He was wrong about the whole shebang, but I don't want to get into it because it's too tough. It's still something that is emotional for me, you know. So I'm just.
It's emotional for both of you guys. Trust me. You guys are. She's over here crying online, and it's very touchy. So
I can appreciate Janae's micro expression in that moment. I'm just gonna keep it real. And like you said, we can move forward.
anyway, let's go further. Okay, let's go into it. So you left the group, okay, and you ended up doing Bigo on your birthday with TKO Capone, right? So what led up to you leaving the group and then ending up on that PK with TKO Capone? What was the catalyst to that?
Okay, so I left the group in 2020 when they voted me out. And that was supposed to be a test or whatever of my strength to want to be still a part of the tribe. But I didn't take it as that. I thought I was being humiliated. I was very humiliated when they all voted me out because they said that Eligio egged on this whole meeting that me having feelings for Solar was weak. And they didn't want weakness in the tribe, in the cult. So I just was voted out. And I tried so hard to deny the feelings I had for him because I didn't want to seem like I was weak. I wanted to stay in the knowledge. I wanted to prove I can stay on the mission and not think about Solar and everything like that. So that was weird. So I was voted out. I was voted off the island. And I ended up going to Atlanta.
Well, hold on. I just want to stop there. What was it that made you feel so deeply about Solar? Like you just said he was immature. You just got pushed off. Y'all was getting it in. You get pushed off of him. It don't sound like a fun time. I'm like magnetic about him. Was it the sex or like was he knocking it down? Or like what was it that made you like so into him like this? That
I thought he was very intelligent. He had the gift of gab. I thought he was just very smart. I liked how he looked. He was attractive, but the most thing that I would say attracted me to him was the obsession I had over the twin flame dynamic. I thought that for some reason, I thought that he was my twin flame. And because I was so bent on completing a mission and a purpose here on Earth, I believe that twin flames come together to complete their mission on Earth together. So I thought I was supposed to get with him to complete whatever I had to go complete. And around that time, that was a spiritual awakening. That's when twin flames.
Well, technically you did complete the mission because you had your little munchkin, your Poogie bear.
I guess that was the mission, right? I guess so.
Yes, it is. That was it. That baby was meant to come onto this earth.
Yeah, she definitely.
So I just want to say that at the end of the day, just know that the mission is complete. You know.
Yeah. So that's what I guess attracted me to him. And what was the other question? There was something else he told me, asking me. He was telling me, what was the question?
Well, I was asking you, what was it that was such a big deal about Solar? Like, what was it about him that made you so drawn to him? But you said the twin flame.
About Solar, honestly, but I because he is a part of the story, I'll expand on it. But the that was it. That was just the obsession of the twin flame thing, the dynamic that I thought he was. I thought he was my twin flame. So I just wanted to be with my twin flame. And I thought that, you know, being with him would help in my journey in some type of way, shape, or form. I didn't know he was a producer at the time. I didn't know that he was into music until I got there and saw him producing music. And I was just like, oh, well, that's cool. I'm a singer. He's a producer. We can do music. That's what, and I loved singing. So I felt like my purpose in life to do music. So it just made sense to me as well when I found out he was a producer and everything of that nature. That was another thing that helped me stay in carbonation. I liked the music and I really wanted to be a part of the music, but Eligio wouldn't let the women really, you know, express in that way sometimes because, you know, he wanted the women with him when I was there. But, you know, Stoka got a chance to do music because she was with Solar. And yeah, so
you leave, you and then it's your birthday.
Okay. So for my birthday, this was the time I was not in carbonation at all. For around my birthday, which was January 14th, I believe that I was about to go to TKO's. I went to TKO's place because he wanted me to be a part of his PK. And this PK, what it is a battle between two influencers on Bigo, which is an app. So on the Bigo app, he was battling against NaturBoy. And they was making this big, huge thing like flyers and, you know, all this stuff. So, you know, since me and TKO was already in contact, you know, and me and him was cool, like we were friendly. Me and TKO getting to know each other, but not on a overly friendly way, like a dating type of way. We were like cool, you know, and we were like, you know, seeing synchronicities. We kind of was like digging like how we were. We were compatible. I'll say that we were compatible.
Right.
So,
easy to talk to, you know, like a easy to talk to person.
Yeah, around the time I was going through a lot. So you know, it was nice to talk to somebody who just intuitively got it. Like he's a Pisces, so he would just have intuition. So we would talk and it would be nice. It would be nice to have another person to talk to. Text. I would say text and then talk on the phone as well. So anyway, he wanted me to join the PK and I kind of was like, oh, that sounds cool at first. But then I thought about how NaturBoy would feel. So I told him like, I don't think I'm comfortable, you know, but you know, he, you know, basically insured me and talked me into it. He was like, yeah, it's going to be okay. It's going to be nice and all this other stuff. So I was like, okay, sure, whatever. And I kind of just wanted to, at the time I was young and I kind of just wanted to experience a new state anyway. I like to travel. I'd never been to Las Vegas. And he was telling me for my birthday, he would take me around and show me Las Vegas and take me out and stuff. So I was like, sure, I would love to do that. He flew me out to his home and meet Armani. And there was another person there, I forgot her name. She came in later. But we did the PK. NaturBoy was not happy about it at all. I didn't really think that he was gonna care because I didn't think he liked me like that. So,
let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something from the outside looking in that you probably wasn't aware of, right? So because of the way you left, right, and that there was like this whole like upheaval about you leaving, and then you've been gone, and I think there were some like lives that were done, lives that you had done. Then, like, what TKO Capone was like, well, I got a surprise for you for the PK. Mm-hmm. And then he brings you out like surprise. And then here you come dress up. So it he kind of used you in a certain way because, you know, NaturBoy and him were like little like rivals on he used you as like, oh, hey, I got your girl. That's how it looked. Just FYI. So, but did you feel like used in that moment?
Yeah, absolutely. I knew that it was for a clout chase. I knew it was for a stunt. And as it was inching into the moment, I just felt more and more like uncomfortable, like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But then, you know, he did the signal, which was him asking me, to take off his coat. That was the signal for me to get on the camera. And when I went there and took off his coat, got on the camera, if you could see, I was so uncomfortable. I was so uncomfortable because I was just like, oh my God.
What? Right, exactly.
Oh man, but
you didn't show it though.
No, not at all. I had to, it was like lights, camera, action. I had to be like, all right, well, facts. You know what I'm saying? That's right. I'm over here. And after I did it, you know, it felt weird, but then people were just so amazed and people were like happy and they were like happy to see me with TKO and all this other stuff. It made me forget like how I felt about it initially. I'm like, okay, whatever. He'll be all right, whatever. But I told TKO before. I kind of didn't want to do it at first because I still at the time, I don't know why in my mind, I still looked at Eligio as a teacher to me. And I didn't want to hurt his feelings anyway, but I didn't think he would get hurt like that.
He wasn't hurt.
I didn't know he liked me like that. I guess it was because I looked so beautiful in that video. He was just that because he didn't expect me to look like that. Because when he met me, I had, you know, a shaved head and, you know, no makeup and all this stuff. So yeah, that was the TKO Capone stunt situation. Yeah.
So I believe that situation was the catalyst that led up to all the things that kind of even eventually led up to you leaving. That's why I wanted to bring that one up, because then the TKO thing happened. Then I'm not going to mention the other person's name who kind of brought you out of that situation because they felt like you were, I don't know what that person was thinking, but they got really upset about it. Like, no, you ain't gonna be with TKO, you know, even though probably didn't even know the back end of it, you know?
Yeah, the back end of all that, I had to stop talking to TKO, even though like I really thought he was cool. We kind of entertained the idea of me possibly becoming a drip angel because that was the thing at the time. He had drip angels, whatever. I really didn't know what that meant. I thought that was me just being there and, you know, being a part of the sisterhood and dressing all nice like they were saying and everything like that. I didn't really know
that he was a PIMP.
Yeah,
I don't know what you know about me.
I mean, people would be like, how you not know, girl? Like, what are you talking about? You know, I didn't know because I was sheltered from all that when growing up. I didn't really watch like, you know, African-American movies like growing up like that. I didn't really know about PIMP culture. I didn't know about the Boys in the Hood and all this, you know, all that, well, those shows and everything. Even Baby Boy, I can't really remember, you know, I only glimpsed that Hustle and Flow, like those type of things. Like I didn't really watch. So
you came out of college and you were really on the journey, so you wasn't watching all that, like into all that stuff, right?
I'm into anime and I still am. You know, I was into anime and writing. Like I was a writer when I was younger. Me and my twin sister didn't do anything but watch anime, draw, play video games, and write all the time. Just write, type up stories.
Right. So you ain't watching Pimp Some Hoes Down to know what a pimp is, right?
Oh, I had no idea.
And they showed you dancing on the pole and stuff like that. And I actually thought at that time, well, was she a stripper at one point? Like I thought she was a stripper girl and all this other stuff because of the fact that you were with TKO.
No, I was not a stripper girl. I was a nerd. I was a nerd. And like, I just liked having fun. I don't know how to explain it. I liked having fun. I was young and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go here and go here and go here and just have fun with everyone. I just liked having fun, and he liked that about me. He said that on his live. He liked that I knew how to have fun, and I was just had this personality. 1 second for me. 1 second.
All righty. So let's go. Let's get into that. So a lot has been unpacked here. Coach K, Nyla, any words?
No, I'm good. I think she's pretty much explaining a lot, explaining everything.
I think the main thing I would like to know at this point is like, what has she done to move forward from here? Where has what is she actually doing to heal from this trauma? Because we can do these interviews, we can write books, and all of that. But what is she actually doing any healing outside of it? Like, is she actually doing the work? Is she really talking to a professional? And because this stems beyond her experience at that, at Carbonation, clearly. And based on the fact that she went from Carbonation to someone that's considered like a pimp, and she said she didn't realize it, it lets you know that she's clearly wearing blinders when she goes into these situations with different men. And there's a reason why you're ignoring the signs. There's a reason why you're allowing yourself to go from one pattern to the next one. And you're not addressing the root source of what is causing you to follow this pattern in your relationships. I mean, we can say we're on a spiritual journey, but are we on a spiritual journey, or are we just looking for someone to love us? Are you just looking for the attention of a man? Because we have to get up to a point where our accountability is actually about doing the work, and really healing from it. And I'm just trying to, I'm really checking in on, listening to what she's saying and checking the vibe and, looking at her mannerisms and things of that nature. And I'm just wondering, as someone that does this professionally and deal with different women that do have survived these traumas and, are really legitimately working towards building a greater self beyond that trauma for themselves and their children.
Well, that's part of the reason why I have you here, Coach K. I wanted you to hear some of the background story, hear the lead up, the follow through, what led up to the actual situation to where, she actually goes back to NaturBoy, because I think that some things happened before, like, I'm not sure what happened, but something happened to make her even go back. So this whole PK happens, and then she goes back to NaturBoy after that. And then that whole manipulation, he purposely lied to her to bring her back. So I want you to hear that, and then I want you to go into healing. So we're gonna go into bringing you back, and like the humiliation that he did for you, just to purposely like use you. So let's get into that real quick.
Okay. All right. So the PK happened, and I went back home. A lot of things happened when I went back home. A lot of back end things happened when I went back home, and let's see, how did I end up in the second time? I believe I went to Puerto Rico because me and Solar got back in contact with each other. Yep, we got in contact with each other because sometime before, I believe his and Zoka's baby passed away. And I guess we found comfort in talking to each other because I myself was going through a lot of traumatic stuff around that time as well. And when we got back in contact with each other, he and I were, falling back in love and all that jazz and wanting to be with each other. And I was just, I thought about going back to be with him, because I wanted to be with him at that time. This was around, like, I would say 2 months after maybe his baby had died, a month or two after. And I just wanted to be with him, just to know that he's loved and love each other through that traumatic time. So But he wasn't telling me anything about it. You know, of course, he wasn't mentioning baby love or anything like that, but I just felt as if I wanted to be with him. But then Eligio placed Zoka and him back together, and out of nowhere. So I thought that maybe Eligio knew that he and I were talking, and he placed them back together just to talk with me or something like that. So he placed them back together, even though Zoka didn't want to, and you can clearly see that in the live video. She really didn't want to be with him, but you don't say no to the king. So basically, what happened after that is Eligio contacts me one day, because after that I wasn't really hearing from Solar like within some days, because they're back together, right? So, you know, I was just like, oh well, whatever. I expected that. Then Eligio contacts me and tells me that he had a dream about me and Solar being together. And at that time, I believed him, because that same night I had a dream with Solar. So it just freaked me out. And I thought, you know, because he was like this mystic being, that he was able to tune in, you know, and catch the frequency and, you know, prophesize, you know. So I believed him. And basically the next day we got onto the phone, and he told me that he wants me to come back to Puerto Rico, come to the tribe and be with him and be with Solar and be with Zoka at the same time. And I was just like, you know, I don't know if Zoka liked that. He was just like, yeah, he'll be all right with it, basically. So I was like, okay, sure. If that's the case, if she's willing to like do the polygamy thing with me again, like that'd be awesome. Like, let's do it.
So fast forward, you go there and things are not what they seem.
No, not at all. When I get there, he's telling me that no, like you're not going to be with Solar.
And then he does a whole live.
Right. He does a whole live of exposing that I'm there. He was not supposed to expose that I was there until he did the Dr. Bishop episode. But since he wanted to tarnish everything right then and there and manipulate the situation to where he gets with me, you know, he just does a live and exposes that I'm here, humiliates me. You know, the humiliation.
And let me tell you what in that humiliation video, what he did.
Mm-hmm.
He called out certain people names. You know, we're not going to go to say their names. The people that were supposedly like coming to your rescue during the TK. Well, I guess they thought they were coming to your rescue, but you had chose to be there, and there was nothing really a big deal to rescue you from. But they came to come to your rescue in that situation, brought you around them. And then you go back there, and then the whole thing is to cut that tie with that other person.
Yeah, so that wasn't that video. It came later down the line. So what happened was he chose to humiliate me even further and make me expose secrets. So yeah, it was so I can cut ties with anybody that had possibly have a chance of saving me or coming to get me. So yeah.
Yeah, and he did it all on live. So fast forward, then you become his wife.
So how that happened is like he was just like every other moment he forces people to be his wife. Like it's like, you're my wife now. You're my wife now. Deal with it. So basically, someone had asked on live if I was a wife now, and I didn't know how to answer that. So after like a few seconds of being silent, I looked at him, and he was like, you know, sucking his thumb and basically nodding and saying, yes, say that you're my wife now. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm his wife. So that's how I became a wife to him.
All right. Now I'm sure people know that the rest of the story as far as that's concerned, like when it comes down to like being that you became his wife. What was the dynamic like of the women in the house when you finally went to Atlanta? What was the dynamic between you four as his wife?
So when I left Puerto Rico and went back to the tribe or the cult, excuse me if I keep calling it tribe. I went back to the cult in Atlanta to ask to be with Solar again. I don't know what I was doing. I asked to be with them again. And the dynamic with the women, they were so kind. They were love bombing me, I would say. They were so kind and just so loving and wanted just giving me spiritual baths and, just giving me clothes to wear. And, they were just really nice at the time. I would say that we never had a problem, honestly. It was always a problem when, Alethio would triangulate the women, so yeah.
So at some point, that whole relationship became like a whole like shit show. That's all I could put it as. It became like, but they say that it was performance. Like, oh, he was put on a performance. He started becoming the three god. What made him turn into the three god? What was that metamorphosis like?
I literally just looked at the comments, and I want to address this real quick, if that's okay. No, I'm not still in love with Solar. I'm gonna say that right now. Someone told y'all she's still in love with Solar. Please cut the crap. Please cut the mess. I've moved on. I'm in love with someone else. I love you, baby. That's my husband in my mind. In my mind, like I'm good where I'm at, and I want people to respect the relationship that I have. Solar is the father of my child, and that's it. I want to just say that for the record. Okay, thank you. Moving forward, though.
So anybody else that says some stuff like that is gonna get removed. So that's it.
Please, I just respect me and my relationship. Respect that what I got going on. That I'm not posting publicly right now.
Well, I was asking her questions about that. That's why she was answering the question, because this is not just about like the cult itself. This is about what like relationship. Because at the end, when she finishes telling the story, we're gonna have her talk directly to Coach K and Nyla, and we're gonna like talk about healing from here on in. So I did want to do that. I want to let y'all know this is not just about like just only the cult information. This is really a healing session. So
yeah, absolutely.
So let's get into, okay. So then, he becomes the three god. You guys begin putting on these performances. You're on Signetter. Y'all are dressing up 333. Was this all like some kind of weird? I mean, it was weird. I'm like, it was the whole thing, the change from whatever y'all were doing before to this 333, and then him going. Do you think that all this was a performance because like there was like some TV notoriety that you guys were about to get? And so he was trying to put on a show for that to like create like a TV show, or was this really like how he was really acting?
He was acting like this off camera as well. He would have different personalities though. One moment he's three god, the next minute he's Alethio, the next minute he's Dr. Bishop, the next minute he's like this supernova Casanova guy, the next minute he's a jaguar, the next minute he's Batman. It was a lot of characters that he put on, but those characters were like personalities. I would say I wouldn't even call them characters. They're personalities, because Slick had a personality disorder or something.
Did you guys start taking more marijuana during that time? Because I noticed that when marijuana was more introduced, the more bizarre it became. Would you say that?
Yeah. Hold on one second.
Okay, let's get back to the coaches. Let's talk about that.
Damn, he sounded like Sybil.
Yeah. He was. Yeah. It was weird,
Yeah, that marijuana just allowed those personalities for, to come forth. That's what it was.
Yeah, I believe that weed a big part of showing Split. Because I don't think he was dealing in that with weed. He got to Atlanta, and I think they probably gave him like the top screen. He probably was getting like some regulos in Puerto Rico, but when he probably hit Atlanta, they probably had like that BMF grade, the Black Mafia family weed that probably was like the purple Kush. He was taking, because he was connected, right? He started being connected with some people in Atlanta, and I believe that was the reason why it got so strange.
Uh-huh.
What would you say, Coach?
I'm just taking in a lot of the different details as I hear them, being revealed as she, tells more and more of her story. And today, I've just kind of read the healing part because the reality is there's recognizable patterns here, that she has been speaking on that have been a part of her life, beyond, like I said, carbonation. And, that's why I'm curious to know what she's doing now. And also curious to know, since she did mention that she is actually in a relationship,
Well,
how she's healing.
Yeah, let's get into the healing aspect now. Let's get into that now.
I just feel as if I said that I'm in a, I wouldn't say, I would say I'm dating someone, but I'm like not publicly announcing it, like showing it right now and everything of that nature. I just wanted to keep it private, but I just cannot take when people are disrespecting it by saying I'm still in love with Solar. I'm not in that realm anymore. So I just want to let you know, just to the public, like don't worry about that. I have my own thing going on and I like where it's going, so even though if it's not, like official or we're not together physically or anything like that, I feel as if whatever I have is a beautiful thing and it's going to be protected by God. So that's why
Absolutely. And like I said, I was saying that to say that I was interested to know exactly what you are doing within your healing state, as you have moved into a new relationship. Because from what I can tell, especially since you kind of have a new baby, it's pretty obvious that some of these ties that you've had are still recent ties. So there's probably still a lot of unaddressed trauma that surrounds these situations because it's still freshly new. Which is why I was curious to know what you're doing in regards to actual healing state. What how are you actually doing the work to get yourself to a healthier place where you know that as you move into your future relationships, and as you're currently in one, and I get that you're saying that it's beautiful right now and I'm happy for you and I definitely hope it stays that way. Yeah. But what I do know is that when you have not completed your healing, and especially when we're dealing with matters of trauma, and relationships and manipulation and things of that nature, a lot of things don't reveal themselves right away because 9 times out of 10, somewhere along the way, there's a repeated cycle that's going to happen, whether it's months down the road or a couple of years down the road, because we haven't resolved certain things. And because of that, we're still attracting certain type of people to us with certain type of natures. So that's why I was curious to know what you're actually doing to address your trauma, seeing as you have a new baby. There's certain things we don't want to repeat as you're raising this child and, you're moving forward. There's certain things you don't want to do no more because you're in a different place in life versus when you went into carbonation. So
I'm definitely not in the same cycle anymore. I've canceled out that cycle and it's completely done. I've been taking healing therapy sessions. I've been doing healing therapy sessions and for over a year now. I've been definitely taking my time to get to know myself, diving in what I love to do, getting to know me, focusing on my job, my baby. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been a lot of healing work that I've been doing. But therapy definitely has helped for the most part. And also just going ahead and just focus, like getting out into society more, working a regular 9 to 5 has helped me, get myself sane again in some type of way, shape or form. I don't know how to explain it, but it did.
Right. It's a normal.
Yeah. And doing the shadow work, I would say, like understanding those traumas and understanding what got me in relationships like that in the first place. So, fixing those traumas within myself, fixing what those toxic patterns were, and developing new habits,
Right.
I got into the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, and it talked about, this disintegrating other old habits that no longer serve you, the old you, the habits that form the old you and form little habits that shape you into the best you. So I've been just doing that little by little, just becoming a better person by forming new habits. And because I was able to become a beautiful, better version of myself, that I'm no longer the same Janae I was before. And I believe that wholeheartedly, because I was able to, develop these new patterns and develop these new cycles of thought, thinking about doing things one way. Even having a baby sat me down instead of like traveling over to who knows where and getting myself mixed up into certain situations. I sat myself down and got to know Janae and what was wrong, or not wrong with Janae, but just basically saying what could be better with Janae, because I had to take my time to understand why I did the certain things that put me into very bad situations. So because I was able to do those type of things, I was able to attract better people into my life. And because I was able to fix my energy, cleanse myself, do my spiritual baths, connect with God more, meditation, prayer. I'm in yoga school right now. I've been doing yoga. And I'm also in school for learning how to be a life coach. So
here's a question. Have you ever sat down with your father?
It's not like I could. He's living in another place, but I have called him. I had on my birthday, I definitely had a conversation with him. He's the kind of person that just don't care. And I've tried to have healing conversations with him. My sister have sat down with him whenever and did a healing session. I just did my stuff on the phone, and he's just. He would say he's sorry. He would say he's sorry because, he didn't know how to be a father. He didn't know how to be a dad because he didn't have a dad. And he was just doing the best that he could and knew how to do. And that's when also my sister had told me that he took out anger on us by not being there for us. So I had like conversations with my dad that was healing, and I definitely had conversations to address like, I love you, so please don't forget my birthday. Like you're my dad. Even though you wasn't there the whole time, I just want you to know that I still love you, and all these things. So yeah, I have had conversations with my father. I just don't.
Coach K, I want to so wait, hold on. Here's a question. Is your dad like involved with your baby now as a grandfather?
No, and I don't expect him to be.
Coach K, let's talk about the impact of a father and how like that could affect certain things with relationships.
Well, whether it's a male or a female child, the impact of both parents is equally important. But when it comes to a girl, because we set out to look for a man or a companion in the future, it is generally in the best interest to get those ideals from your father. Your father is generally the first man that's held you, that's fed you, that's protected you. Your father is generally the person that is there in a heavy capacity. But in our current society and culture, it has become very, very common to have one-parent households. And a lot of times those households are with single mothers. And the reality is that even in these single parent households with the mothers, they are not always conducive to the child, because a mother, depending on how healthy she is, may not be benefiting the children either, which is why it's important to have both. Now, when we're looking at it from a relationship standpoint, then yes, we want our fathers to be there for our daughters because it's important that they see that love. But more importantly, it is important that a child see their mother being loved.
Do you think that from a shadow work perspective, it would benefit her to really, really dive deep in some kind of way with her to heal that wound? Because I believe that there is a wound there,
Yeah, well, obviously, definitely, she's clearly, issues from what happened from her father being neglectful and not being there for her and her sister. So clearly, there's abandonment issues. And when we suffer abandonment issues in close relationships, we generally go through a grieving process as well. So now you're dealing with grief because it feels like the death of a relationship, the death of something that was supposed to be there that you turned out to never have. So there is going to be trauma from that. But what I can say is, based on what you have said to me, Miss Janae, it's obvious that, okay, you are doing your work. You are making the effort. You are going down the alley. You've reached out to your dad, like you said, which for anyone that really does the work, you understand that actually addressing the people that have offended you is a part of doing that work. So by her actually taking the time to actually go and speak with her father, or, whether it's over the phone or whatever, she took the time to try to hold that conversation. And her sister obviously has done the same thing. And the reality is he's still not there. And what we have to understand about healing is that we are not always going to get the result we want at the end of that journey. And it's not about his apology. It's not about him stepping up and doing what she needs him to do. It's about her addressing it, saying how she felt, making it known where she stands. And from that point, creating whatever boundaries she needs to protect herself, her emotions, and her children from repeating that same offense, which is why it is not a bad idea that she doesn't care that he's not around for her child. Because the reality is, let me tell you something, you can't really miss what you never had. And it is better for that child to grow up loved and surrounded by the people that are there than to have to deal with the pain and anxiety of someone's absence that was never there. So I tell people all the time, we have to learn how to accept things in different stages in our healing. And everybody is not going to be there to give you closure. Everybody's not going to say what you want to hear. So sometimes we have to, as I said on, Nepal show last night, we have to let go and let God. You just have to understand that it is what it is. So everything ain't gonna come with a definitive answer to our issues and the things that burden us in heart, mind, and spirit. Some things we have to recognize that we have to overpower, redirect, reconstruct ourselves within, and re-identify those emotions to something else so that we can move forward and be able to release those past transgressions, even if we don't get the result we're looking for. So I would never tell any client to force themselves to try to recreate relationships that were already broken. You address them and you give the person the opportunity to do the same. But clearly her father still has his own trauma, work, transgressions, and things that he needs to do, because as he already said, he didn't have a father and he didn't know how to be one. So clearly his life path has led him to a point where he's become complacent and okay with where he's at within his grief and his pain, because that's what that is. That is grief and that is pain.
Would you agree, Janae? Oh, I think she's dealing with. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think she was trying to breastfeed the baby or something.
I'm swinging her around. I absolutely, positively agree, and I'm glad that she's saying all that she's saying, because that's why I went mute, because she does like to talk a lot. I definitely agree with what she's saying. Just because he's not in my life doesn't mean I'm not healing. That doesn't make sense to me to just think that way. I think that I did whatever I could, and to overextend myself, that would be a toxic trait.
Absolutely.
Oh no, and trust me, I'm not trying to dig into you. I'm just trying to do this for people that might watch this, that might have fathers that are the same way.
Absolutely.
To bring that subject matter up so people know how to deal it, because you're going to be a life coach, right? So yeah, you're here with another life coach, and I really encourage you. Like toward the end of this, I'm going to really introduce you to Coach K, because I believe that you could bring a lot to the table with what she's doing. I think Nyla was trying to say something. Go ahead, Nyla.
That classic, common cliche, but it is so truthful that, when you start to develop self-love, you will find that a lot of relationships and things don't matter, because that love is coming from the inside.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Coach K, I think it was a good point that you brought up about, healing the root cause of why you behave the way you behave and accept things that are non-beneficial. Because you don't clear that up, you're going to keep repeating that pattern.
Absolutely. It's a proven fact. There's statistics and data on it. This thing of mental health and self-care and self-love is a very big deal, and it's way bigger than just going to get your nails and your hair done or going to the spa and getting a massage. It's bigger than that. And I think a lot of people don't understand what it truly means to do self-care, self-love, self-respect, all these different things we're supposed to do for self. And it requires work in order to do that, because we live in a society that tells us to listen to what other people think of us all the time. We live in a world where we've probably been told our whole lives who we're supposed to be, especially by the people we're closest to, family members, from people that have toxic mothers to people that have absent fathers to people that grew up in foster homes. Everybody has this different type of stigma connected to the authorities or the adults who were around them at that time. And the moment that we decide that we're going to take real accountability for our own minds and our own thought processes, we begin to develop the confidence to actually shake off all the things that were said about us, all the things that we didn't think we could do. And that stuff comes with work, which, like I said, she's clearly doing it, when you're doing things like mantras, things that people think are so insignificant. You have no idea how far they go. Chanting mantras, everybody knows about prayer and connecting with your higher power, or going out into nature, finding different ways to do things that you've never done that helps you to grow. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are doing what's called insanity. Everybody want to do the same old thing over and over again, looking for a different result. You cannot keep going and doing the same thing with the same type of people and think you're going to live a different type of life. It just doesn't work like that. You have to do something different to get something you never had. And if you are looking for peace and happiness, if you are looking for love and you feel like it's something you never had, then you have to take a look at yourself before you look at anybody else. You have to take a look at yourself and decide, what is it that I am or am not doing to and within myself that is causing me to be present in this type of lifestyle? How do I end up here? What brought me to this? And if that root source goes all the way back to your childhood, then we know where it stemmed. If it comes to a situation where maybe you experienced a sexual assault or something like that, maybe in college or from a friend, or who knows what the situation may be. At the end of the day, we have to take our own accountability for our healing. Yes, we are victims. Yes, we have experienced things that are unfair, that we probably never deserved and should never happen to us. But this is such as life. And now that we are in a place as adults where we can finally take back control of our power. When we were children, there was no power. We were defenseless. We were dependent. We needed someone to do it for us. But now that we are adults, we're mothers, we're fathers, we're aunties, some of you may be grandparents. You have to come to a point where you decide when you are going to be a better you so you can be better for those around you. Because that's how we break the cycle of this situation, which is why I wanted to know what she was doing for healing, because I see she has this little baby here. So there's things we need to break before we pass them on down. There's things we got to stop doing now before we create an environment that forces our children to think that it's okay to live this same type of lifestyle. And then we wonder why they end up doing things like our cousins or like our uncles or like our sisters or brothers, whoever it is that may not be healthy and conducive to, who are non-toxic. People who are toxic people that you bring your children around, and we call them family, we call them friends. You know what I'm saying? We have to do better about taking care of ourselves first, because if I'm not there, then my child can't be there either. If I don't have them in my home, if I don't entertain their information, then that's not the information I'm going to be sharing and passing on. I'm not going to allow my child to see me to get beat on or jumped on or any of those things, because I come from my own trauma background, as I was explaining on my show last night. So I understand a lot of different ways that this thing can play out. I come from a family that has different type of abuse backgrounds within it, so I understand how these things can happen. But what I also know is that if you do the work, if you take the time out to love yourself and do what you need to do for you, it makes it so much easier when you decide to love somebody else. Because if I know how to love me, then it's easy to know how to love you. But if I don't know how to love me, then I have no business loving on you.
Yes.
I should not be near nobody till I have completely healed from the trauma that I have suffered from. So I cannot stress that enough, especially to you, Miss Janae, since you're on the panel this evening and the focus is on you, to continue to do that work, to stay diligent, to make sure that you commit to you enough, no matter who you're dating or talking to and whatever little happiness they bring in you. Remember who you are. Remember everything you've already been through. Remember how you felt in all those moments, so that if they ever come up in the future, and I don't care if it's the smallest, littlest bit, I don't care if it's something that seemed like it shouldn't be a big deal, it is one. Because we're not going to give opportunities for even the smallest things to slip through the cracks and become big things later.
So with that being said, you have a retreat coming up, a healing retreat
Yes.
in North Carolina, right where you're from.
Yes.
You're becoming a life coach, Janae, and I really wanted to bring her on here. I just knew that she would be a blessing to you, just to be in connection with each other.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell what this event is about.
Well, this is the 2024 Women in the Wild post-trauma and healing camping retreat flyer, which I'm going to be doing at Coble's Landing in Polkton, North Carolina. For anybody that's from North Carolina, it's about 45 minutes outside of the Charlotte area. Basically, we're going to be doing everything from, talking about empowerment to martial, oh Lord, what's the word I'm looking for? Hand-to-hand combat with a martial arts teacher. We're going to be doing artistic expression with a painter that's going to come and show how to, use painting as healing therapy. We have a few different people that are going to be coming and speaking, just from everything on topics of empowerment to how to go through survival steps of post-trauma healing. So it's just going to be a variation of different things. We got African drummers coming. We're going to be dancing around the fire pit, and it's just going to be a really exclusive event. We're camping, like I said, it's outdoors on this beautiful tribal land, which is Black owned, and it's a nature preserve, and it's just going to be really awesome night in nature for those 3 days. It's going to be April 19th through the 21st. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to make sure the ladies are taken care of. We're going to do some horseback riding, possibly ATVs, still working out a few little things and details in the itinerary. But yeah, we're ready to go. I'm ready to love on them and share with them and allow them to share with me. And all the different speakers are going to be coming to give everybody every bit of what they can within that weekend to help them be equipped to move forward in a more positive, healthy nature, having released any anxiety, depression, overcoming domestic violence or any type of, sexual assaults, or anything of that nature, whatever it is that you're suffering from, whether it's just, you just need a moment to have companionship amongst other women, sisters who are like you. That's what this event is for us to come and just share and support and love on each other. I'll be doing these retreats probably no less than once a year, but the goal is to start doing at least 2 to 3 a year. This actually is my first retreat that I've planned. I do a lot of different type of events, but this is my first retreat. So, easing it in. We've got the attendees coming in. It's actually turning out to be a bigger blessing than I expected. And I just want to be able to do that for anybody that needs it. So, as DJ Genesis was stating, you guys can definitely reach out to me. You can definitely contact me, via email at healingbyk@gmail.com. That's healingbyKay@gmail.com. Shoot me a message. Let me know who you are, where you saw me at. And, if you want to, need to speak with me, I can definitely set up to do that for you. I do private coaching. I do group coaching, and as well as I'm, available via phone and via Zoom, that type of thing. So
You're in North Carolina too?
yeah, I'm in North Carolina. I actually live. I have about 2 acres here in Peachland, North Carolina, which is about 15 minutes from the tribal lands.
And this is a Black tribal land right here, right?
Yes, ma'am. It's the Coble family. It's called Coble's Landing, in Polkton, North Carolina. And you can look it up. They have over 200 acres. I think they secured the land back about, I want to say they've had it back now probably about 5 to 7 years. The family reacquired the land for the tribal lands. So it's a blessing because, it's a Black Indian family doing this wildlife nature preserve, and they have all these great, authentic, African based, Black events that allow us to have a space and a place where we can truly be ourselves in nature. And it's beautiful, and they're adding so many different things to it, cabins and everything on the nature preserve, which I didn't get to take advantage of because they literally just put up the cabins this month. So on my next retreat there, I definitely plan on taking advantage of the cabins. But this time we are women in the wild. We gotta be in our tents. Everything is provided. The food, I have a chef coming to bring breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I have a massage therapist that's gonna be there to rub the ladies down as they leave and make their way back home in the end, so that everybody is relaxed and feels great. And it's just going to be a good time. We are looking for sponsors. If you're interested in being a sponsor, we have different incentives for sponsors. So feel free to email me for that as well. Or if you just want to be a blessing and support this, endeavor, this initiative to support these women and bring them the best of healing opportunity possible, feel free to shoot a donation of any size. Anything is welcome. Everything's a blessing to my Cash App, which is Healing by K09. So that's Healing by KAY09. So if anybody just wants to participate, we are more than happy to take that assistance, because I just want to be able to do as much for them as I can.
Do you know Dr. Mitchell Gibson? He's from South Carolina.
Sounds like a familiar name, but I don't think I know him directly if I do.
Yeah, he's a energy healer in
Really?
South
I would
Carolina.
question more because there's a African tribal land, and they turned a town into, it's called the Oyotunde tribe in South Carolina. So I plan on doing a retreat there. So he probably knows about it then.
Dr. Mitchell Gibson, yeah, I know what you're talking about, or your Tunji village. I've been,
Yeah.
but he's not associated that I know of with that particular tradition. I just thought you would know him. He's pretty much, I would say, world renowned, and he lives
I thought
in
they were in South Carolina, like on your Tunji. That's South Carolina, right?
Yeah, I'm in North Carolina. Yeah, but that's why I said his name sounds familiar, so I may have heard or something, but I don't know him enough to be able to pull his name right off the top of my head and know who he is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I definitely appreciate you ladies for allowing me to share that. And Miss Janae, I mean, did you have any questions? Were there anything that you may feel like you want to ask me or whatnot? But I know you already have a coach, you're already going through your healing, and you see your therapist and all of that. So it's totally fine if you don't. But while I'm here, if there was anything you wanted to ask me, I definitely don't mind answering that question for you.
I appreciate you, Coach K. I don't necessarily have any questions, but I do want to say thank you, Joe. Thank you. Like you, oh man, you was just saying everything that I couldn't have said. And like you said it way, way, way more detailed. And I just want to say thank you for the healing work that you're doing for our community. You're a beautiful divine channel. Like goes through you amazingly. I can see that. I know you feel yourself. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel this right here warming up. You know, it's God all in you and all around you. You
Thank
definitely someone everyone should be seeing in this group, in this room. We need to go ahead and let that be known that we need to get to that retreat that you're doing. I believe that you're doing a wonderful service for our community. I just want to say thank you so much for healing so the women can be healed.
You're very welcome. Look, I had to, like I tell everybody, we have to do it for self first. To heal y'all is to heal myself. You know, it keeps me in constant reflection, you know, of where I've come from and where I'm trying to go and who I want to be. So it's a blessing to me to be able to do this type of work because it keeps me grounded and it keeps me from repeating my own past cycles. Because as long as I'm preaching to y'all, then I'm actually preaching to self. So just know that. If I'm preaching to you, I'm definitely preaching to me every time.
And she has told her story on the Pasha Da's channel last night. So I will share with you the link because she has her own survival story.
Absolutely.
That she went through. And, you know, it's a blessing that she's still here. So I just wanted to, like, you know, bring her here because I was like, wow, you know, that's a great, what she's putting together is spectacular, you know.
I plan on doing multiple of them, so I'll definitely keep you ladies informed. You know, if nobody's able to make it to this one, you know, I'll just keep y'all notified of when other ones come up, and if we can ever link and get together, or maybe at some point we can link and do something ourselves, you know, together to put together an event. Because I'm always open for that type of thing. So if you can't make it to this one, you know, we can definitely link in the future.
I do have a question. Do you have any books out?
That's the thing. I have yet to write a book. I have a couple of regular books that I wrote and put out myself a few years ago, but nothing in regards to dealing with the trauma, because I actually hadn't got to that. That's just when I was writing poetry, because I'm a writer and a music artist as well. So I do a lot of that because that's my secondary way to be able to do therapy for myself is through my music. Like you said, you're a singer and stuff. So I'm sure you understand with that type.
I'm a producer. We got like some talented people up here.
Oh yeah. Well,
I make music. I makes the music. I produces the music, you know, so.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so everybody understands what that can do for you. And when you don't have it, what it can feel like without that, you know, that outlet. Cause that was part of what my story was. You know, I was in a narcissistic relationship and abused and different things by my kid's father. So, you know, I literally cut off doing music probably about 5 years out of my life, you know, because this was something he couldn't handle, you know, me being in the limelight, being around people. Because when I'm out there, I'm shaking and moving. You know what I'm saying? I'm networking, I'm performing. You know, I'm one of those people. Like if I'm out there, I'm out there. So yeah. So but that's neither here nor there right now. But like I said, I hadn't did that yet. It's been on my mind. And once I finish this human services degree I'm working on, I think that's probably when I'll do it. Because taking this human services program and working on this degree is actually allowing me to dive a little deeper into the what and the whys and the hows of our makings and, you know, our culture. Even though it looks at everyone, because I like to do everything from a perspective that heals me and my people. I'm always going to look for the how and the what and the whys of us because those dynamics tend to be different.
Well, I'm going to say this too. I want to say this. Janae does have a book out and it is called Lessons Learned. Please tell us a little bit about your book, Janae.
Please do.
Okay. Well, it's a book that took me about 3 years to make with the procrastination and whatnot. But Lesson Learned is about my experiences dealing with so many, you know, relationships and how did I heal from them and how did I get myself out of certain things? How did I develop new habits and new thought forms? You know, also it's about the cult. Like I did a lot of inserts about the cult in there and my experiences being traumatized and being abused and all this other things and how I was able to even in the darkness still come out and shine like the light that I am. So I just wanted to extend that to the community. just so they can get to know me and get to better understand my situation, but also to get to better understand their own situations. Because a lot of us have been going through toxic situations, toxic relationships. And the only extreme about mine was that I was in a cult. So
Mhm.
I just want to make sure everyone know that everything in lesson learned could be relatable for you. And I just wanted to share this with y'all. So yeah, it's lesson learned. I'm pre-ordering it right now, meaning that it's not out yet, but it will be out soon. So people are putting in their pre-orders for the book. I do have Kindle and book deals as well, meaning that you can get a Kindle and a book in a package, and because I also make candles. So yeah, that's the book, lesson learned. It just definitely going through a lot of lessons that I've learned, and a lot of information. I would say a lot of information about narcissistic abuse, a lot about what the trauma responses are and how people can heal from that. All these things. So yeah, that's what it's about.
And the Black Jim says, "A good job, Capricorn sister." So, this went a little bit over what I was expecting. I was only supposed to go a couple hours, but I just want to give everybody some closing remarks. And I really want to thank you, Janae, for coming here to Alchemizing Energy. We're bringing darkness to light. I know we kind of slowly walked you through a lot of things, but I hope that you enjoyed what we brought here with you. So
thank you. No, absolutely. I am ecstatic to have this new connection right beside me. Right
Yeah.
there. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. Please email me and feel free to contact me. I would love to, hear how you're doing, about your progress. I definitely want the link to your book as well. That way, I can look into getting that and, supporting you as a sister, as a mother, as a Black woman.
Appreciate that is. You can find me on Instagram. My name right there is Janae Alexandria, Alexandria. And if you want to, it's right there, right? Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha.
Screenshot that if you can, so you can get in contact with me to get the pre-orders, because I do not have a link for it. I don't have a link. I don't have a website yet. I want to make sure everything is professional when I do that. But to get the pre-order, you have to go through me and my DMs,
Okay.
So yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
No problem.
So I did this interview, I would say a year ago, when the whole thing was going down, when NaturBoy was getting his, right after he had gotten sentenced. And I think it's interesting because now there is a documentary called The Cult of NaturBoy. And I want to, because I think, I love SETI. I want to give his opinion on this documentary.
All right, family. Black Power. You live with the General. Man, we got another fire presentation dropping right now for you. We talking about the Code of NaturBoy documentary is dropping on Hulu. Oh, just a second, family. Dropping on Hulu. Who knew that they would drop some shit like this on Hulu? You see what I'm saying? And Disney, Pedophile Network. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, it's amazing to me. I'm like, damn, that they found the energy to put some shit out like this. And this is crazy. That these types get more airplay, they get more motherfucking video play, and they find, goddamn it, do one on Khalid Abdul Muhammad. They go get the worst, and this is, and see, again, again, we got the types out there that promote this garbage. You see, you know, and you know, all the motherfuckers out there support it, and you know, there's, you know, these fraudulent types. I'm gonna just say what it is. You know what I'm saying? This is the backdrop of what came after the college, the Benz, the Clarks, and you know, this is the you know the garbage. You know that you know started. You know and on the occult Malachi Z York, Yahweh Ben Yahweh type of methodology. You know what I'm saying? Classic Malachi Z York. All these niggas, you know what I'm saying? Come in here with some old crazy sex code, you know, talking about any motherfucker nigga talking about nature. Nigga, what you mean nature? You know what I'm saying? You nature boy. Nigga, you a man. Nigga, what the fuck is you talking about? You know, all that boy shit and you know, motherfucker ain't even, you know, don't want to be a man. Nature boy. And I'm like, wait a minute, nigga. You know what I'm saying? That right there is almost like a false flag, you know, of what's going on. But, you know, they took the time to put this shit on Hulu and in a time where it's like an attack on consciousness. And I'm not saying he's a part of no but see, they bring these types in. You know what I'm saying? They bring these types in, and people begin to look at this like, oh, all these niggas is the same. They're part of this conscious community. And you got niggas, they don't give a fuck who they push. They don't give a fuck who they push. You understand what I'm saying? You can't go and get a job nowhere without a motherfucker running your resume, finding out who you is, what you been doing. You know what I'm saying? And here these motherfuckers, and you by time, you know, and you got all these videos, I would never ever sit down with no nigga like that. I don't give a fuck about views. I don't give a fuck about none of that. That's weak. You understand? The masses is asses. So you can get a lot of stupid motherfuckers. That don't mean shit to me. You see what I'm saying? You could never, but a lot of people push this shit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, and it show you. And you know, a lot of the niggas that probably was molested out of the Malachi Z York shit, looking for another, you know, and if they didn't, you know, fuck with him outright, you understand, behind the scene, they was some of the motherfuckers that supported the motherfucker. I never watched nothing of that nigga at all. You understand what I'm saying? Your whole you know, how you carried yourself, nigga, was weak. You see what I'm saying? And you fucking with walking around amongst children. I heard the motherfucker. That's one thing. They say the nigga he walking around amongst his children naked and shit. And I say, what? I say, I don't want to hear no more. You understand what I'm saying? Wasn't paying no attention then. You know, but you know, but this just show you. You know, all this so-called I ain't in part of no motherfucking conscious community. You see, but the thing is, they come out and they use our symbols and shit. You know, they come out, use the onks and shit, you know, and all of this shit is degraded. You understand what I'm saying? Again, when you looking at the Pan-African community, nigga, you looking at the motherfucking elite literature, nigga, research, nigga, manuscripts, nigga. Damn near every fucking thing niggas didn't cut and paste and shit and take our shit and then stamp something else on top of it. But you ain't nothing but some bootleg shit. You ain't got no resume, a nigga, where you was doing it before us, nigga, nothing whatsoever. You see what I'm saying? And you come and you take shit of ours, our symbols, and a lot of some, you know, the philosophies, the Egyptian, that's some of the first shit they're gonna take. They're gonna come and get the Egyptian and the, you know, get it, you know, because that's the, you know, that's the foundation, really. You know what I'm saying? And they use the symbols and this, that, and the third. But you know, but those of us who really been taught by the gram, you know, that's some off-brand shit. You know what I'm saying? That's some off-brand shit. That's some occult shit. You see? And so now they find a time to put this shit and I guess people need to see what it is. I guess people need to see how dumb, a lot of people is, and go follow. I mean, because it's never about no motherfucking man, no one man, or no one woman, or none of that shit. So anytime you find yourself so goddamn attached to what another motherfucker is commanding you to do, and you ain't got no you ain't got no strength of self, no solid foundation of self that you can stand on, where you can see where a motherfucker is trying to lead you down the wrong path. That's fucked up. You see what I'm saying? That's fucked up. And that's what they do a lot of time because he weak. So the motherfuckers, he weak. So you already know the motherfuckers that was fucking with him was weaker than him. You understand what I'm saying? A bunch of spiritually depleted niggas. You see what I'm saying? Just don't say what it is. I don't give a fuck. I hope they hear me. A bunch of spiritually depleted niggas. You was lost. Cause ain't nobody that was solid with, you would have saw that nigga from the jump. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all just want to go down, and you want to live in a paradise and shit. You want to and walk around with straw skirts on and shit. And and motherfucker walking around, man. What the fuck is y'all doing, man? You know what I'm saying? What the fuck is y'all doing down there? What is you doing? Okay, and so because the reality is, it was an illusion because everything that they seen, they say after about 3 months, everything when motherfucker it was already fucked up from the beginning. You just didn't choose. You chose to ignore it. Cause see, y'all, anytime it seemed like something about the pop, niggas want to be around. They want to be a part of that. Niggas and jump from each movement. A lot of these niggas jump from movement to movement to movement. I know you niggas. You'll see the nigga over here. Then when that shit, then you'll see the nigga over here. Then you see the nigga hop from philosophy, ideology to ideology, and you just watch them and shit. And all they do is flip. And then all these niggas, different ideologies, and then they try to come together and call the shit the conscious community, and all these motherfuckers got different ideologies. None of them would ever come together in no type of unity because all they ideologies is telling them to go an opposite direction. So you come in, and that's why I never did fuck. But see, you got weak-minded niggas that don't care. They just want a video. They just want anything that gonna give them a view or two and shit, this, that, and the third. I didn't like that shit. Never did, never will. You know what I tell motherfucker, you ain't getting on my shit. You see what I'm saying? And real talk, and that's really why you don't see motherfuckers even on my channel. You see what I'm saying? I could be out there doing shit, and, but I see motherfuckers, they be against the white man, and they like whores. They do videos with white men all day. I say, damn, nigga, every time I see you, you doing videos with white people and shit. And I say, well, what kind of shit, nigga? You supposed to be against the white man. So they'll do anything and shit to where I don't even want to watch his shit. You know what I'm saying? If motherfuckers out on the streets and I might watch you if you out there banging for real. But now you done did so many, I don't do shit like that. Cause nigga, I'm going in. Ain't no cordial or nothing. I'm going in, nigga. So if me and Neanderthal is on there, ain't gonna be nigga, we is going to war. You feel me? Somebody feelings about to get hurt if the general on there. Feelings gonna get hurt. I pulls the gloves off and shit. I can do that intellectually, but the gloves is coming off. So I'm not about to do no videos with no Neanderthals. These niggas will do anything to get views and shit and this, that. And I keep my shit raw. You see what I'm saying? I keeps my shit raw. I don't give a fuck. I don't need nobody. I stay by my motherfucking self until the end of time. Yeah, I'm gonna do it my motherfucking way. I'm gonna ride out my motherfucking way. But like I say, a lot of these motherfuckers out here, they got other agendas. You understand what I'm saying? So, and sell your ass out to that damn Neanderthal. Be sitting up there talking about other black people to these Neanderthals. You know what I'm saying? Supposed to be in the conscious community and shit. This, that, and the third. You feel what I'm saying? And so I just, it's kind of funny to me that all of a sudden, they want to put this garbage out, and I guess people need to see, how this shit, operate. Polite too. He come right. I've been cut off into that nigga. You see what I'm saying? And people knew that when I said this, and really I said the shit way back then, motherfuckers. I say, oh, you understand what I'm saying? When I cut into their ass, I cut raw. I went to break back. Like, yeah, y'all on some homosexual shit. Y'all doing all this shit. Yo, yeah. So which one of y'all niggas is which one of y'all niggas out here is sugar coated? He's saying he got all type. You could be a sugar coated new Wabian and shit. I said, oh, it's right there in the book. I said, okay, who's sugar coated? And then he messing with babies and shit, saying, oh, I said, oh, you in here trying to tell babies in this book, man, that it's okay to be sugar coated? Oh, wait a minute. Where is this? Did y'all read this shit? Y'all in that group. Niggas didn't want to say shit. I said, oh. And then when the nigga hollered out in the motherfucker, he thought I had something on his ass then. He said, oh. I say, motherfucker, no, my babies. Motherfucker, we going to war, nigga. Babies are at home, nigga. This is war shit, nigga. It's gonna get ugly up in this motherfucker. Nigga, put on your armor hat, nigga, and everything, nigga, because it's gonna be shrapnel falling in this motherfucker. So I knew then and shit. And niggas wait till all this time. I knew then. I'm like, man, you on some other shit, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. And it ain't about talking about a nigga. I knew it back then. I said, oh, okay. Y'all reading this shit, right? Y'all got all these scrolls and shit, but y'all don't want to talk about this one. You understand? Y'all don't want to talk about this Sodom misinterpreted. I said, oh, well, what the fuck is Sodom misinterpreted? Oh, I'm thinking this motherfucker about to go in on the Neanderthal. And then I went in there and I say, oh, what the fuck is this? Man, I couldn't believe. I said, oh, so all you niggas that's new Wabian y'all agree with this? This like a manifesto. This is like nigga it's like you admitting, I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What the fuck is this? And so, I seen the same shit and I said, oh, this nigga, somebody done touched that nigga, man. You understand what I'm saying? Real talk. He come out of that same shit, nigga. Somebody done touched that nigga. You see what I'm saying? You out here, nigga, clothes on, nigga. You walking around, nigga, clothe yourself, nigga. Talking about you, nature boy, nigga. That right there sound like some fruit pie shit, nigga. Like, oh, you nature boy. Well, okay, nigga, with fellas in your head and all this shit and diapers on and shit. Nigga, what is y'all niggas doing? What is you trying to achieve, nigga? You and people see, and once you understand that and you see, you supposed to be ahead. See, but that's what I let motherfuckers know. I don't cut no motherfucker no slack. I let motherfucker know. Period. This is what they doing, okay? You understand? Motherfuckers kind of slid and got the fuck out the way. They went on about their business. You understand what I'm saying? Went on about it, and then here it resurfaced. But a lot of other motherfuckers want to promote that shit. And I don't give no motherfucker no. I don't fuck with motherfuckers like that. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people do. He had a lot of support from a lot of motherfuckers in the quote unquote conscious community, all you motherfucking green juice eating drinking motherfuckers, and you know what I'm saying, and all, yeah, and all that, niggas want to sit in a dark room with a lot of smoke in the motherfucker and shit, and and all, what the fuck is y'all doing, nigga? You understand what I'm saying? This shit crazy. But anyway, family, they went and got this nigga and they put it in, and a lot of people gonna watch it. I don't even really want to watch it. You know what I'm saying? Really, I'm not about to look because I seen enough. if it ain't uplifting me mentally, I don't need to see that shit. Y'all gonna go watch that shit. I don't need to see that shit. I'll go watch me some Khalid Muhammad or some Dr. Ben. I wouldn't even waste my time with no shit like that. I don't want to see. I seen enough of it, to know what happened. And so it's crazy that the Disney and shit openly a fruit pie organization and shit. You know what I'm saying? They find anything in its own Disney. Disney. I say, oh, y'all gonna put it on. And you thinking like Disney is supposed to be Mickey. It's Hulu on Disney. You got Hulu, then it's Hulu on Disney. And I'm thinking to myself, man, Disney supposed to be Mickey Mouse and and Daffy Duck and Goofy and shit like that. But even that, you had to get into it and see that they didn't, intertwine some wicketry in there. You know what I'm saying? They didn't entwine the wicketry, what I call animation sanitation. You see, animation sanitation. You see, cartoonery, buffoonery. You see, you got to know that they indoctrinating the children. So to bring this shit on, I hope, that y'all, I don't, what did I have? Now, I'm gonna tell you, at one point in time, I had Disney, and I'm gonna tell you what, I had Disney for Marvel Comics because I wanted to see the Marvel comic shit. You know what I'm saying? But if at any point in time I see any type of, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? If I see a category for any of that shit, I don't go on it. I don't go on it, even if I don't even go. I'm never gonna go to, because we know that. But anyway, anytime y'all get to pushing that shit and I see a category, oh, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Let me get up out of here. Any endorsement whatsoever, that's an organization I cut ties with. You feel what I'm saying? But anyway, family, get on over there to Patreon. For y'all that want to watch it, I'm not going to promote it. You go find out for your motherfucking self. Go find out. It will be no promotion from the general. Freemasonry exposed, Wiccan Luciferianism and Satanism and this kind of shit, which you fall right. I got the what is it? I got Luciferianism in the conscious community. It's on there too. So you need to check it out, and this would be most definitely be a part of it. But anyway, family, get over there, click the link, and I'll see y'all in a minute. Yeah, we coming black. We just getting started. Black power.
Just when I thought I couldn't find my way out, yeah, I searched the God in me to find my way out. I know it can seem way out, but the Creator flows to and through me from way out. I'm talking way out, yeah, yeah, yeah. See if you believe in the God in you.